who says that tap water turns kids gay?
No, jeez.
I mean, this is the dream team? This is the dream team?
Oh, my God.
Really? I mean, seriously, it would be funny if it weren't so sad. And hopefully, the United States Senate has a backbone and insists on a thorough confirmation process.
Okay. Granby picked someone else he saw on the TV.
I have it right here.
I feel like this would be my mom's cabinet if she were, you know what I'm saying?
Glenn
Still
Beck
with
would
us.
be in there, definitely. Glenn Beck would be in there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And Dagan.
I like that, Dr. Oz. Oh, he's the one that said it's fine if we lose, what was it, 2 to 3% of our school kids to COVID? Because that's a, wow. Okay. When he and Bobby are in charge. Remember how I say I believe in children of the future?
At least Oz
Sorry.
is an actual doctor.
Sorry, kids.
I'll give him that. He's an actual
is he?
doctor.
He's an actual doctor, unlike Dr. Phil, who's a doctor of
Of bull.
BSology.
Ology.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is why Dr. Oz got buried in the Senate race, because he's a crank like everybody else for this. Oh, my God. By the way, so have they done one thing on inflation, which supposedly this whole election was about? No, it's about bullying a trans lawmaker. Oh, my God, Nancy Mace is so despicable. That is the definition of a bully. She wants to put forward a bill. First of all, trans people have been using the bathroom in the Capitol forever, and everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares who's peeing in the next stall? Oh, my God. Okay. So anyway, there's one trans person that's been elected to Congress, Sarah McBride, and she has to make it a point to have her first move to be to bully her.
Mm-hmm.
That trans people can't use the bathroom. She doesn't mean she means you. She means she wants to keep her out of their reindeer games. This entire party.
Mm-hmm.
From now on, gang, we won't let Rudolph join in any reindeer games.
Speaking of, was it drinking water turning you gay? I don't know what's okay.
Is that RFK Jr. said that?
Yeah, he said
Yes.
fluoride in drinking
Fluoride,
water.
that's it.
Yeah.
Fluoride, that's it.
Oh, is that what he blamed for why I wouldn't back when he invited me falconing?
It was all that fluoride.
That's right.
I told him I was gay. He's like, it's all right, bring your girlfriend.
Did he
Do you know
really
what
say that?
Yes. Do you know what a skeeve ball he is?
That's skeevy.
I played his messages for, Robin Trish.
Of Robin Trish. Do you still have them?
If only. His voice really did make it sound like he was masturbating, but I'm just, you know what? I did not save them.
Oh, I wish you had.
I wish you had.
Who could have seen this coming?
Oh, I wish you had. I saved the
Anyway.
voicemail from Eric Stoltz to me years ago. So
Oh, I just saw him in an episode of Madam Secretary last night.
he also directs a lot of those.
He grew up very handsome.
He's very handsome.
He was just a goofy redheaded kid when I was at
He's a
USC Theater with
sweet
him.
man.
Back when I was whining to Bill White about why he got an A and I didn't in drama class.
He's a very nice guy.
What did Bill White say? Can I say the kid's got it?
He does.
He's like, you're a unibrow loser. It's going to end up working in
Did
your
he really
basement.
say that? He did
You're not
say
going to
that.
be Carol Burnett. You're going to work in your basement.
Ali Sheedy had it too.
Yes, she did.
Us people that I went to school with had it. Whatever it is that you don't end up working in your basement. Chris, who said, I hate the word homophobia. It's not a phobia. You're not scared. You're a hole. Who said that?
Snagglepuss.
No, the fantastic Morgan Freeman.
Although that is, a lot of Morgan Freeman quotes are
not his.
thrown around out there attributed to him, but they're not him. Do we know that was Morgan Freeman?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's a good thing, whatever it is that he said.
So we're putting words into that man's
right.
mouth.
Yeah.
Have we said welcome, Morning Joe viewers? Hello, good morning. What did I tell you yesterday?
And they are on for 4 hours a day.
Wow. Morning
They
Joe
are? Do they
ratings.
do 4 hours of live programming?
4 hours a
Okay.
day.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I could have told you. Based on Monday morning's hour-by-hour ratings, Morning Joe viewers were not happy with Joe and Mika's announcement that they met privately with Trump at Mar-a-Lago and kissed the ring. Dino Badala is coming up on our show, and he wrote a great piece on this. He was talking about this about bowing to fascism on Joy Reid, in fact, just last week, and it was great. So Nielsen ratings obtained by Mediaite show a significant drop in viewers in the 7 a.m. hour. Roughly 38% of the lucrative 2554 demo tuned off MSNBC or switched to another network. I switched to CNN this morning. You know what it was? I went to look at like how they reacted to it.
Just watch
and
local
Joe was even more smug and condescending and insulting his viewers. Like it's just a few social media cranks and all my friends called and said it's so great. It was so like really. Do you know real people? Like really? other people in your media bubble or other, rich white people from Montauk or wherever what does he have it? Anyway.
CNN after 4 a.m. Pacific time is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
They don't do a lot of opinion panels or whatever. They
Yeah.
do they give you the straight news, which I prefer.
Yeah. This is
I
why
like CNN between midnight and 3 because then they're all drunk.
Scarborough says the backlash to his 180 on Trump doesn't. First of all, they just have no credibility. Whether they're supporting or criticizing Trump now, they have no credibility, right? I mean, you're worse than J.D. Vance. You called him out for saying he was Hitler. It was a week ago. Anyway, he said it doesn't reflect reality, the backlash. Yesterday, I saw for the first time what a massive disconnect there was between social media and the real world because we were flooded with phone calls from people all day. Really?
Kissing
everyone
your ass.
from Southampton
Right.
to Montauk to everyone that winters in antiques. Sorry. Okay. Literally all around the world. Very positive. Very
around the
supportive.
world, even.
Oh, well, talk about living in your own little bubble, Joe.
And your ratings are down, buddy, so those phone calls don't matter.
Who is it? Oh, Ron Filipowski, our friend, said, my friends called me and told me it was cool. So the millions of people on social media who used to watch our show on occasion who are upset and vowed to never watch it again are all idiots. Yeah, that was a great response. You're an idiot if you're
They should
upset
have
by
just
that.
said, I'm sorry, we're just afraid to get arrested.
Yeah.
That's what they should have said.
The new owners of MSNBC could fire them tomorrow.
Oh, my God. You know
mean,
what?
literally,
It's
all they had
time
to
to
say was, "We're
rethink
sorry,
that
and we're
disastrous not hiring the Stephanie Miller Show decision from whenever this
I hope they learn
This-
their lesson.
show started. Let that be a lesson to you people. I creep up on you. It takes time. What year is that? We were supposed to. Whenever Morning Joe
2008?
started.
2008. It was when
Right.
Don Imus was fired.
Imagine how
8
the
or 9.
world would be different.
I think it was 2008.
Yeah.
We might still be trapped in that little island just off of the New Jersey Turnpike.
I just remember Jim Ward and I going, the only place we could walk is this little parking
Yeah.
lot in Secaucus. And we spent like 20 minutes looking at a shoe going, how do you think that ended for that guy?
It's Jersey.
Is his mom?
It's
Yeah.
Jersey.
What is just one shoe?
We were trapped in some Sheraton that was cut off from the rest of the world by the New Jersey Turnpike. We couldn't cross it
We couldn't
or
do anything. We
We
were
couldn't do
trapped.
anything.
How'd you get there?
A car drove us, and then once the car dropped us off,
Yeah. So we didn't get the job. We were like, oh, good.
good.
Now we're
Go back to
leave,
LA.
We can finally leave Secaucus.
Somehow.
I didn't think we'd ever get out of this cul-de-sac. Yes, the reporting, a pair of sources privy to behind-the-scenes decision-making told CNN that Scarborough and Brzezinski were credibly concerned they could face government and legal harassment from the incoming Trump administration. Oh, well, welcome to the club.
They should
Man
have
up.
said that.
Ball up over there. Jesus.
That's what they
This
should have
kind of
said.
cowardice is how we got here in the first place.
You just tell Mika to grow some balls.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Know your value. Grow some balls.
Throwing that in her face.
Knowing that Trump has threatened retribution against his perceived political opponents and that Trump promoted lies about Scarborough and Brzezinski in the past, they decided to reach out to the president-elect. Oh, my God. How many people have called them reek on social media? They're so reeky. Oliver Darcy said, how intellectually lazy to pretend that the very real criticism of their groveling before Trump is just noise from cranks on social media. Yeah, it's the arrogance, right? Ron's also tweeted, Joe Scarborough dismissed critics of his trip to Mar-a-Lago, saying they're disconnected from the real world. Dear Morning Joe, we are part of the real world, and elitist condescension only makes it worse. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, all they had to say was, we were terrified. That's why we went down there.
Yes.
At least that would be honest.
I was honest the day after the election. I came in and said, the guy that owns the show, he said, you're the fourth host that's called and said, am I still going to have a show?
Right.
Of course, we're all scared. But you know what? This is how you defeat fascism. You don't, what do you call it? Obeying in advance? I mean,
That's what
first of
Bidikoff
all,
calls it, yeah.
Joe and Mika are multi-millionaires.
leave
Right? Like
anytime.
what's really going to happen to them? You know? I mean, it's... Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so yeah, you were mentioning this, Chris. So I have no idea what's going to happen. So cable TV networks, MSNBC and CNBC, to be spun off by Comcast. They're going to create a new company that will include MSNBC, CNBC, USA, on and on.
cetera.
Sci-fi.
Golf Channel, yeah.
E!
I like
Yeah.
sci-fi. It's good. Resident Aliens on that. It's good. It's really good. Alan Tudyk, he's really good.
The only thing,
all I can tell you
the only
is-
thing that Comcast is holding on to is Bravo.
Oh, because that's
Brava.
a money machine with the desperate
They
people.
print
There's so
money
many
over there.
desperate people.
They print money over
Yeah.
there. They really do.
Okay.
I don't want
They have a lot of spin-offs. And
Oh,
they-
Trump also picked the wrestling lady.
Yes.
Well, I mean, she did serve in his first
Yep.
as the head of the Small Business Administration. So she has government experience.
Just tell me now, is Dr. Pepper going to be the new attorney, the new Surgeon General? Just tell me, so I can.
Mayor McCheese.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
RFK
knows Hannibal
basically did
Lecter's
eat.
not a real guy, right?
And apparently RFK did eat the McDonald's.
Of course he did.
Well,
He
yeah.
would eat if Trump told him to. And you know what that's all about? Same thing all of this is about. Making people grovel. It's because Bobby Kennedy called the food on the plane poison. So Trump made him do that
Right.
photo op and eat it.
You're right. I'm not going to believe he ate the McDonald's until someone asks him on camera, "Did you eat that McDonald's?"
I think, didn't Johnson rat him out? Somebody ratted him out.
Well,
Yeah, Mike Johnson and Don Jr.
Don
ratted him
Jr.
out.
Right, both of them have a vested interest in making
True.
him look like he ate McDonald's. But I want a reporter to ask him personally, "Did you eat that McDonald's?"
Oh, because you know he'll tell the truth.
Yeah, he totally.
Well, I mean, it puts him in a corner. It puts him in a corner.
Puts baby in a corner?
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
him to be put in a corner.
They're all hypocrites. Oh my God, he's such a hypocrite. He's like
If I see-
an environmentalist that just took a job in the drill baby administration. Oh my God.
If I see him at the gym, I'm going to go up to him, pretend I'm all broy, and I'm like,
Oh, he's
hey.
not going to be slumming at your gym anymore. He's going to be.
Oh, he will. He will.
Is there a gym?
He'll be
Is there
there.
a gym on Air Force One
He'll
that he'll be using?
He'll be there.
He'll be there in his jeans with no shirt.
Oh God.
And
Douche.
his Secret Service.
Douche. Excuse me. Pardon me. Bless me. Douchebag. Okay. So we have man meat. We have some substitutions on the menu today. We have Bob Seska, Dean Obadala, and Carlos Alzraki. Malcolm Nance will be tomorrow.
We substituted the tomatoes for the fries.
Yes.
Fruit
Lots
for
of
the
pickles.
fries.
Lots of pickles on the side. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Extra man meat. Extra pickle. Okay. Well, so lots and lots to get to. I just can't even read the headlines anymore. I've lost the
sorry.
will to live.
I'm sorry.
Dr. Ross. Okay.
Wasn't he on oxygen with you at one point?
Probably.
Probably.
Thanks,
He's
Oprah.
an Oprah person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oprah has some stuff to get. By the way, did I say the disinformation was not going to stop after after the election? No, they didn't pay Oprah a penny or Beyonce.
Right.
They both had to shoot down these. They paid them millions of dollars. They didn't pay them a penny.
In fact,
Oh my
Beyonce
God.
flew everybody.
Can you just
and
leave
did it on
Kamala
her
alone
dime.
now? Pardon me.
Beyonce flew her own people and herself and on her own
Yeah,
dime.
yeah.
Oprah's
And also, can you
Company got
leave
paid.
Joe Biden alone now, Fox News? For God's sakes. The snarky, he was walking on the beach with his wife, and they're like, Joe Biden's new opponent, Sand, because he stumbled a little bit. Just, oh my God, shut the up. Oh, God, I hate everybody. Oh, both my eyes. Okay, I'm fine.
You even hate us.
No.
Yes.
Well, sometimes. No, you're feeling better, so now
I
I'm
am
going to go
feeling
back
better.
to beating you mercilessly.
Great.
Wait until he's
until morale
completely
improves. Until morale improves around here.
wait until he's 100% better. He's only at like 90.
Oh, I'm just creeping up. Just waiting. Okay.
I woke up drenched in sweat, and so my fever broke in the middle of the night. So,
Oh.
yeah, that's good.
Oh, I would like that. We'd lose a couple extra pounds so I could remain
Oh my
a
God.
what is it, bulimic ditch licker? Oh, I didn't get to look at Twitter in time to see if my boyfriend is there.
He is your boyfriend.
Yeah. What's his name?
Thom.
Thom. Yeah.
He was my boyfriend!
All right. 20 minutes after the hour of this Porsche. Wow. Did that blow up in Joe and Mika's face? Wow. And on cue. Oh my God! Now their humiliation is complete.
Yep.
Did you knew this was going to happen? They're like went back to an abusive spouse or something.
Exactly.
Trump tweets. Oh my God! When Nikki Haley mocks you for being a pathetic sellout. Oh my God! Donald Trump tweeted. This morning, Joe and Mika, who owe their careers to me, went on their show to claim to have met with me. They made it sound like we had a summit. The truth is, Joe begged to meet with me after our big win. For some reason, only the B and the W are capitalized, but okay. And when I finally agreed, he approached me like a scolded dog. He should consider himself lucky I didn't have him thrown out of beautiful Mar-a-Lago. Mika was charming as usual.
He wants to F her.
What's that?
He wants to F her.
She's too old.
My God.
She's really pretty, though.
How personal has he made it with them? He's called her a dumb bitch. I don't know how many times, essentially. Talked about her facelift, and you have a program called Know Your Value? Oh, my God. I mean...
She was lovely when she was on this show, though.
She was very nice.
Yeah.
She was
I
funny.
thought they were on our side. I'm like, oh, see, you were right about those ex-Republicans. They're going to sting me afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, here's the thing that, everybody is saying. Dino Badala wrote a great piece. We're going to have him on tomorrow. First of all, we all can tell you why the ratings have been down. Mm-hmm. First of all, nobody liked the liberal, quote-unquote, network beating up on Joe Biden. As I mentioned many times, only Lawrence O'Donnell's ratings went up. Clyde's digging a little hole.
Where are you digging to?
He's digging a little hole to China, where Morning Joe did a piece about how authoritarianism is winning there. Oh, they're jailing all the journalists and stuff. Isn't that weird?
Okay. He's trying to dig a hole to China, but he's ending up in Pacoima. What's going on?
He's small. He has little claws.
He's also not very bright.
He is not. That is
He's
not
adorable.
We are going to be respectful of each other, despite the fact that Chris is always wrong. Oh, I mean, just that we have differing views.
He doesn't feel well still.
I
We
know.
have to be nice to him.
Okay, Chris does not feel well. He's had the flu for several days, so tread lightly.
Be nice to him, people.
People were mad at you because you weren't nice to Anita, and we love our Anita from San Antonio, who is one of our longtime beloveds. Everybody, we're going through a very difficult period, all of us. Everybody's very tired. We're exhausted. Some of us are getting sick because we're exhausted. And
I
not
just don't like
sleeping.
complete strangers telling me who I can be friends with. That's all.
I know. We're just talking about tone and respect for each other. Yes, you are. It's up to you who you want to, which fascist you want to be friends with. Okay, so.
Wow, Stephanie Louise.
I'm
You were
kidding.
supposed to be
Listen,
nice
if we
just
lose our
now.
sense of humor, we lose everything. All right, here's my point about. Seriously, they think this is going to help their ratings on the liberal channel to go. It is so stunning, and you knew that was on cue. And Fox News, of course, is running with it like crazy, going, "Oh, they're lucky he even let them crawl down here to beg forgiveness." Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you what liberals don't want to watch. I'm their target audience. I can tell you what they don't want to watch any more beating up on Democrats.
Right.
Instead of where the blame largely belongs, and they're part of it. This is why people don't trust mainstream media, because you already sane-washed and normalized Trump and all of his lies. That disinformation was the number one factor. I don't want to hear any of this bull anymore about eggs. I just don't. It's part of it. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it's all of it. And we've got to be the ones to beat ourselves and flagellate ourselves when you've got a autocrat like this. Okay. By the way, is this not the biggest middle finger to the American people? All of his picks,
Yeah.
Donald Trump, right? I mean,
Pretty much.
Yeah. Lots of folks on the. So Scarborough, I did tune in today. First of all, the first thing I saw was Petting and Noonan. All right, I am out.
Did she have the little birds or wine birds flying around her?
These Chardonnay canaries. Yes. But he dismissed backlash over their visit as proof of the massive disconnect between social media and the real world. It's not just social media. That's why your ratings are in the toilet.
Right.
A day without her is like a day without sunshine or a cheeseburger at the Billy Goat Tavern. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Steph. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Jody.
Good morning.
So I called up. I think it was Allison Gill said when you look at Trump's appointments as the way to destroy the federal government, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's their aim. That is what they want to do. But I just wanted to really quickly comment on Lindsay Joe and Mika Know Your Place Brzezinski. Um,
Has she
they're
changed the name
afraid.
already to Know Your Place?
I mean, seriously, they're afraid. They went ahead and did it because they're afraid. They're terrified.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They, like you pointed out, they've got the means.
Yeah.
They can
They're rich
skedaddle
white millionaires. What is
wherever
that?
the heck
What
they
message
want.
does that send to the rest of us? Right? It's like you
Exactly.
better
This is
cower
the
in
thing.
advance, right?
Oh my God, these are the people that sat there and complained because there weren't enough servers to fill their water glass during, coming out of the shutdown from COVID. This is who these guys are.
And by the way,
F them very much because
can I say something? Our little warrior princess, Jody Hamilton, took on Justine Bateman because I'm so sick of them calling us liberals like out of touch and elite. Justine Bateman's another white millionaire woman that lives in Hollywood that's like, oh, thank God Trump's in, I can breathe now. All this political correctness will be gone. It's like, oh my God.
Oh my God. So they can be a-holes as much as they want. Good for them. But who's not? Who's really terrified right now? The trans community.
Yep.
Thank
the
you.
LGBTQIA community, the black community, okay? These MFers are going to grant full immunity to police officers to target and do whatever the heck they want to people in the black community. I'm sick. I mean, every morning I wake up and I'm like, I cannot believe we're going to be in this nightmare again. And look, I pray to God that people that are talking about this is going to be a rough 4 years. I hope they're right. I hope that it is just 4 years. I hope that in 2 years, people understand what they did and they rally around and they start voting for Democrats. We in our blue states need to make sure that our governors stay our governors and that we vote blue up and down the ballot in local election after election.
Karen,
Because all we can do right now is
as
slow it
someone
down.
with a trans child, are you surprised they've done not thing A, nor do they intend to on inflation? The first thing they did is a bill, targeting the only trans person in Congress.
Of course. And by the way, there was a piece that just came out what they plan to do with Medicaid,
Oh, I know.
assistance,
I know.
Medicare. Right.
I
which
know.
is gonna
We'll get to that. Ay, ay, ay. Bob Seska next.
women actually deserve to be mocked for this. Not all women, obviously. Not women who are mothers, not women who are married, not women who are Trump supporters and the like.
Oh.
But we are talking about a very pernicious faction of women. They may be the majority. They skew younger. And they are radical, shrieking, shrill, whining bitches. And they are ruining this country. And everybody knows it. They are shrieking about rape. They are shrieking about sexual assault. They hate men. And they'll say they don't hate men, but they hate men that are masculine.
Would that be noted incel? Nick Fuentes, who lives in his mom's basement and doesn't have sex with anyone? Because no one would touch that?
Yeah, he can't get a girl.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, please, Nick, tell us more.
We know that they're radically left-wing, socialist. They think that we can solve crime with education. They think we can solve poverty by fighting climate change, whatever that means. They are begging for more government. They are trying to suffocate little boys and suffocate men. They're preventing marriages. They're preventing child rearing. They're ugly. They're fat. And, like, it just needs to be addressed. And so, yes, it needs to be said.
Yeah. And then
we need to mock these people. They need to be defeated.
Okay. Wow.
He's lovely. He's lovely, isn't he?
I've heard quite a bit about the name-calling intolerant left lately.
Yeah.
But what do I know? What am I? I'm fat.
You're fat.
Lazy.
At least I'm married.
Ugly, shrieky bitch.
At least I'm married.
At least Jody's married.
He doesn't have a problem with
At
me.
least I have a husband.
At least I have a husband. He has no problem with me, apparently.
Wow. So those are the people they would like us to reach out to and heal, to help heal the country and reach across because, okay, yeah. All right. Speaking of dreamy, hunky men, why, Bob Seska joins us now.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special broadcast.
You're cute and I love you, Bob Seska.
Where you coming from?
Bob is calling us from.
At least Bob has a girlfriend.
He does.
Washington, D.C.
Wow. At least he's got a girlfriend.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Hi, good morning, Bob.
Hi, good morning, Stephanie. I have an announcement to make.
Yes.
I just stepped off the plane, ran back here to sit down to talk with you. Kimberly Johnson and I were just down in Mar-a-Lago meeting with Donald Trump to talk about finding common ground. And you know what?
Especially Kimberly.
I have another announcement to make. Guess what I did to Donald Trump?
What?
I stink palmed him.
Did you?
I put my hand in my butt and then shook his hand.
Good for
and,
you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good boy.
You're so adult.
You know, we gotta. I mean, it's for national service. I mean, I'm trying to do my part for democracy. Just trying to make them sick.
Oh, Nick Fuentes just reaching out a hand to all us fat, ugly, screechy bitches. What else? Masculine something?
Yeah, we don't like masculine men.
He called you fat, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now it's a problem. Tom's going to have a thing or two to say about that.
Wow, has he seen any of the ladies that were at LA Sexy Liberal? Because, okay. Wow. Including,
Well, you know what? When
let's
you
start
just
with
played
Kimberly
that-
Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
go ahead.
that Nick Fuentes clip you just played, the number of people who heard Nick Fuentes when you just played that clip,
There's more people than-
listeners than he's had in like 5 years. Because I don't know anyone. I mean, who listens to Nick Fuentes? All I know is that he pops up on social media occasionally. I don't see him anywhere on the podcast platforms or YouTube or anything like that. He's just sort of this troll who lives in his mom's basement, and every once in a while a video pops up, just a random clip of something that no one else ever watches.
Yeah.
Strange. But he keeps going.
You retweeted Ricky, who said, a Trump supporter I've known for years told me yesterday that I take politics too personally. You know what? I do. My Venezuelan in-laws' safety, my 3 daughters' reproductive freedoms, school shootings, etc., all very personal. Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's what I was saying during the break, that I've aged about 10 years in the last 14 days. And I think it's a lot of that has to do with the fact that I think we all have this thing
like 2
called
weeks ago.
empathy, you know?
He's not even president yet. This is only, remember how young we were at LA Sexy Liberal 2.5 weeks ago?
I know. We're just little tiny babies. We're just like Muppet babies. We're all
so happy.
So young and carefree, fancy free.
No more sexy liberals before a presidential election. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Okay,
but, you know, it's the empathy. I mean, we have empathy for people. We don't want to see people get hurt. We don't want to see people get steamrolled. We don't want to see ourselves get steamrolled in all of this. So there's so many different dimensions to what we're facing down here, which is the broader geopolitical dimension of everything, the domestic policy dimension, plus our own personal safety. Like, how is this? I mean, everyone's having conversations right now. Okay, what are we going to do? You got your passport? I got my passport. Are you ready to roll? Do you have a go bag? We all have go bags now. We're like Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad. We've got a rental car parked at a airport parking lot in a garage, and we've got, just a duffel bag filled with cash and
I am really
ready to bug out.
You know what? I got to go do some stuff. You guys talk to Bob.
Okay.
I realize I don't have anything. Water,
I have a go bag.
Water, batteries. I got nothing.
So even if an earthquake strikes,
I don't have that either.
For it?
I keep rating it, and then I'm like, oh, there's nothing in there now.
No. You need an earthquake bag, which is a go bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone I talk to is just like, "What are you preparing? Are you ready? Are you ready to get out?" I said, "What? No,
I'm not going anywhere." I love.
I got no place to go. That's my thing.
Yeah, we are all Richard Gere now, an officer and
That's
gentleman.
right.
We're all spitting on each. We're all spitting on each other.
I ain't gonna quit. I got nowhere else to go.
Drool
the only place that's welcoming Americans right now, I saw an announcement by the mayor of Copenhagen in Denmark, up there in Norland. He's inviting Americans to come stay in Copenhagen.
No, I'm going to stay here and irritate as many people as I possibly can.
There's a city in Italy that is inviting Americans to live there. They're actually paying Americans to come over and live.
I have a bad
oh wow
Italian memory from college, as you recall from yesterday's show.
Well, I can get Italian citizenship because of my grandparents.
To your point, Bob, Theo tweeted, if being woke, which I get called often, means I have empathy, consideration, respect for all people, regardless of their culture, skin color, gender, or sexuality, as long as they're not actively choosing to be garbage humans, then consider me happily woke. I'm so... this is what I was doing when I was paying attention to you, but I was also Googling... Hold, please, Bob.
Uh-oh. Okay.
This the famous John F. Kennedy quote. I'm not very good at Googling.
Ask not what your
no,
country
not
can
that
do
one.
for you.
What it means to be
and 7 years ago.
It's what it means to be a liberal. The good Kennedy, not the deranged brainworm.
Jack?
Yes.
We all live on this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We cherish our children's futures.
All right, hang on, Bob. If by liberal they mean someone who looks ahead and not behind, someone who welcomes new ideas without rigid reactions, someone who cares about the welfare of the people, their health, their housing, their schools, their jobs, their civil rights, and their civil liberties, someone who believes we can break through the stalemates of suspicions that grip us in our policies abroad, if that's what they mean by a liberal, then I am proud to say I am a liberal. We have to embrace this again. You know what? A big hearty you. The Nick Fuentes of the world, right?
Well, there was a big move I remember after the 2004 election, and stop me if I've said this before on the show. I don't recall. As I said, I've aged about 10, 15 years in the last 2 weeks. But there was a similar reaction after the 2004 election where we all felt like we just had to sell out our values and become Republicans. There was I don't know, there was something like, 25 states passed ballot measures to ban same-sex marriage. Mm-hmm. George W. Bush was reelected with, I don't need to go into the gory details.
That's when Chris made his go bag, when they had that cake with the two grooms on it. That was his first go bag.
That's right. It was a dismal period of time. And so we did end up coming out of that. We did make it through, and with democracy somewhat intact, I'm happy to say. How that happens this time, I'm not exactly sure what the path is, but here we are again, and I think there are ways to get through. I think there are ways that we can hang on to democracy in some form.
Also, you retweeted Brian saying Dems are doing a lot of soul searching, but I think this chart is the actual takeaway here. I think Harris did a lot with the deck stacked against her, and Trump still didn't crack 50% of the vote. I mean, it ended up being 1.5 points or so.
Right.
By the way, less of a margin than Hillary beat him by.
Thank you.
In the popular vote, which I'm sure doesn't bother him at all. But and again, that's, by the way, Bob, as we tend to do in the fact-based universe, that's just facts. I'm not trying to do spin or make people feel better or be in the liberal bubble. The fact is, this was not a landslide and not a mandate. And so they want you to feel like that and to do exactly what we've been doing, all beating up each other and what's wrong with Democrats and, oh, God, and just give up, right?
Right. I think ultimately what we're talking about here, because the margin was so narrow and the fact that Donald Trump did not get past 50%, indicates that there was just maybe an issue with messaging. Somehow there was a disconnect between certain voters and the Democratic message, and that's a bridge that I think we have to cross. I think we have to reach out and make sure that we win back some of those voters that decided, I don't know about this person, I don't know about that person, so I'm just going to go with the thing that's familiar because he was already president once, and I don't know, I liked it when it was 2019 and everything was okay, seemingly, and that, I think that's not a difficult hurdle to clear next time around. I think those people can be won back. It's just, in fact, as Chris has been saying, that we need to make the effort to make sure that, one, we're not selling out our values, but two, that we're trying to connect with certain people who voted Democratic 4 years ago and maybe switched over to Donald Trump this year. I think those people are winnable again.
They are.
And beyond, by the way, progressive infrastructure, Bob, like you and me, we have got to stop thinking the mainstream media is our friend. If anything, they go to the opposite side to prove they're not liberal. I mean, look at Joe and Mika on the liberal network. They think that's going to grow their lost liberal audience, is going to suck Donald Trump's. Janet Jamel tweeted this. If the media had covered Trump's plans to end entire government agencies, purge universities, deport dreamers, and fund the government with tariffs like they covered Biden's debate performance, we might not be in this mess. That, I think, in many ways is the original sin. They hounded him out of the race. And, go ahead.
Yeah, I think a lot of the aforementioned voters who may have swung toward the right this time around are probably low propensity voters who, unlike us, I mean, we stare at this stuff 24/7. I mean, we're deeply ensconced in everything that happens in politics down to a granular level. A lot of people only vote based on what they heard as they were walking by the TV in the living room for literally 5 seconds. And then a pollster calls up and says, what do you think of this issue? Oh, I just heard that thing that I overheard on the TV as just walking through the room. And that's how decisions are made.
Kamala Harris didn't lose. She didn't lose on, some people say trans issues. She lost on the people believed that she was doing trans surgery on illegal immigrants in prison.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
A whole lot of disinformation. Yes. I want to go back to that time, and I don't know how this is even possible with cable and internet and things not necessarily being the purview of the FCC. But remember the movie Quiz Show about the rigging of the game show 21?
Yeah.
There were congressional investigations about a game show lying to its audience about how the game actually worked, how they were giving answers to contestants they wanted to elevate as being telegenic or whatever. And now we're in a period of time where anything goes as far as disinformation, lying, deceiving the public.
Yeah.
And how do you square that circle? How do you rein that in without trampling on free speech? And that's a gigantic conundrum because we face this period of time now. We have been for 20 years.
They call massive COVID disinformation that was killing literally millions of people. Oh, that's free speech and you can't squelch that. I mean, you retweeted our friend Stephen Beschloss, who was on yesterday, and said, let's keep these facts in mind as the anti-vax onslaught accelerates. And just the number of people that died of measles, mumps, rubella, diphtheria, smallpox, polio before the vaccine and after.
That's right.
Spoiler alert, smallpox and polio, zero died after the vaccine, right?
Yeah, and very little accountability as far as that mass death goes. Obviously, Donald Trump lost that election in 2020. I mean, in part because people were tired of the lackadaisical response, the negligent response to COVID, the death that was occurring, the recession that occurred. I think that was another big factor that certainly hurt Donald Trump last time around and maybe helped him this time, was the perception of the economy. So these are, I mean, we're asking all these questions.
Not the economy, the perception of the economy.
The perception of the economy.
Disinformation. That's exactly
right.
Back.
Yeah. And so this is something that we need to focus on in the future. And I sometimes wonder, is what we do, is the function of a campaign, the persuasive function of a campaign, is that even relevant anymore? Or are people just making decisions based on how they perceive things in their everyday life, and the persuasive effort made by people like us or candidates or whoever, commercials, videos on the internet? does that work anymore? And I'd like to
yes,
think
and
that
let me
it
tell you
still
why
does.
you are the key
Yeah.
to saving America, Bob Seska.
That's right. That's why I've aged so much. We're all putting this on ourselves. Like, damn it, what did we do wrong? And no, I don't think it's that. But
Chris and Jody, we talk about it all the time. You are entertaining. That's the key. It's like you're funny, you're entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not. Nobody wants to listen to just talking points on either side. So that's how I keep saying support this cinematic universe. Everybody in it. That all.
Yeah,
of
well,
them.
now more than ever, you have
Yeah.
to support independent media because obviously corporate media has failed us time and time again. I can't stop saying this has been the worst year for the political press that I have ever witnessed. And I've been following politics and journalism for 40 years now, since the 80s. And this is
so
been
many
an
people.
abomination this year.
So many people said they can't imagine what Eric Boehlert would be thinking now.
And now corporate media is being spun off.
It
Yeah.
is. Well,
Yeah.
some of it.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
also-
that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it is.
I heard you pitching love to me on your podcast the other day, and I
Did
love
you
you
pitch
back.
woo?
You pitched woo to
He
me.
does
I
pitch
was
woo.
pitching woo. That's right.
Verbal wed woses. How romantic. Thank you. I feel the same about you, and you lift me up too. And that's what I keep saying. Please, in honor of Kamala, lift someone up instead of beating them down, and especially because we're all having a hard time for different reasons. And thank you for. I know I called you, we texted, we've been texting, and listen,
Oh,
get
yes,
a
and
get
thank
an
you for that.
You
Yeah.
and Kimberly, please get an omelet for me at the Omelet Bar Mar-a-Lago later when you're down there.
Yes, we'll think of you when we're at the Prime Rib Bar later this afternoon. After water polo, we're gonna
with Donald.
Marco
pool.
polio. See, that's
Yeah, see, that meme.
Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah.
I love you, Bob
Yes.
Seska.
I love you too. We'll see you in Mar-a-Lago. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Thurston.
Yeah.
Okay. Call me Lovey, won't you? Okay, 50 minutes after the hour. Of all the dividing that Donald Trump has done, we were talking about this whole gender gap. Sorry, did I say gender gap?
He said gender grab.
All right.
Grab
That's what Matt Gaetz does.
Yes, he grabs the genders.
Yes.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just all the way to the top of the Trump administration, just rapey, creepy. So this story, McKenna, who is 24, lives in a rural conservative state, recently got back on dating apps after a year of finding herself. She's had 2 first dates planned this weekend. After Trump won the election, though, she canceled both. She said, it's heartbreaking to know that in this country, you only matter if you're a straight white man. It's just devastating we're at this point, so I will not let another man touch me till I have my rights back. The basic idea, women swear off heterosexual marriage, dating, sex, and childbirth in protest against institutionalized misogyny and abuse. I mean, when you've got Nick Fuentes calling people dumb bitches and saying, your body, my choice, and they're the ones saying, oh, come on, calm down, get over this. Let's all heal and come together. No, you know what? Go to your own websites and find your women. That's what you do. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
You've heard of Asian Friend Finder, Black Cupid, and J-Date. There's even wherewhitepeoplemeet.com. But who has the time to go swimming through that huge gene pool? You've got better things to do. Announcing wherewhitepeopledatetheircousins.com. Where White People Date Their Cousins has the patented family tree selection engine that helps you sift through all your potential mates who don't share your interests, your passions, your paternal grandmother.
I met Billy Ray on Where White People Date Their Cousins, and we realized all those family reunions just weren't enough.
Amber Jean was a lot more fun than when we were playing G.I. Joe meets Barbie in the sandbox 20 years ago.
WhereWhitePeopleDateTheirCousins.com. Available now in these 31 red states. From the people who brought you Knott's eHarmony, Sudate and Date, and Christian Mengele.
Come on, it's funny, Sudate and Date. Where'd you go, Hitler Burger? On a Sudate and Date?
That's right. Doy.
All right, I have been talking about, in honor of Kamala Harris, to try to lift someone up instead of beat them down, because we were all very, very exhausted and raw. On that subject, I suck. I suck balls. I just want to say that right now. I totally missed yesterday. Margaret said, Steph, my sister Kate from Milwaukee is a huge fan of yours. Our beloved Kate from Milwaukee. She made that beautiful blanket for me upstairs. She and her husband Scott have been through a horrible, horrible year. People are going through a lot of stuff outside politics. So just remember with that people are going through stuff and maybe need a lift. I'm reaching out to ask a big favor. Kate turns 50 November 18th. I meant to do this yesterday. I suck. Yesterday. Is there any possible way you could do a special shout out with a nod to her husband Scott as well? Happy birthday, Kate.
Happy birthday,
Day
Kate.
Late. The Sexy Liberal Tour hit Chicago on August 17th. Kate and Scott were lined up with front row tickets to the show. I remember this. Kate called at 7 a.m. That morning. Scott got the call. There was a match kidney. Of course, they dropped everything, but still thought of others and transferred their tickets to a friend so their amazing seats wouldn't go to waste. Kate has been my biggest supporter and protector my whole life. They deserve a little sunshine. If you're still reading this, thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Maggie, and happy birthday, Kate, and thank you for all the love and support. And I'm sorry, I have friends going through health stuff. It's just, people are going through other stuff that makes then all this, political stress on top of it. I ran into the beautiful Mary Lou Hamill. She said Mark's been really depressed. Mark worked his heart out in this election.
Yes, he did.
And left it all on the field.
Yeah.
And there are people just, you think, oh, they're rich and famous, they're not going to be affected. Everybody is.
They're
is
people.
Affected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jorita in Washington. Steph, one good thing is I found your show on Free Speech TV. Welcome all the former Morning Joe viewers. Never say I'm not an opportunist and a capitalist, despite being a liberal. I'm also signing up for other podcasts that align with my beliefs. Midas Touch, Brian Tyler Cohen, Great Choices.
He's coming on very soon, too.
Yes, he is.
I just
Yeah,
saw.
Great Choices. Dean Obadala will be on tomorrow. Support SiriusXM Progress here with John Fugelsang, Zerlina Maxwell, Michelangelo Signorelli. So many great talents. As one of my friends said, the Great Reckoning is coming. I'm still friends with a few Strumpers. For me, I find it's better to keep friends close and enemy friends closer to see how they react to the carnage coming our way and help convince them and others to change their thinking and understanding. Anita in San Antonio, our beloved. Hi, sweetheart.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm hearing that, the billionaire fascist transition team wants to model our economy after that. What's his name? Malo or something. He's from the Argentinian president.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
yeah.
he slashed everything, and now 50% of Argentinians live in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Inflation is sky high. Interest rates are sky high. And that's who they think is doing a great job.
Yeah, and the company, I can't remember what company I saw on the news this morning, and already talking about layoffs, talking about, because of tariffs. I mean, it's just...
Walmart said
yes,
that.
Thank
they
you.
were going to raise their prices. And who goes to Walmart?
Yeah, the pain is coming.
And remember, Mitt Romney said the 47%. 47% of Americans have some sort of government help.
Yeah. All rich white millionaires and billionaires can please shut up, if you don't mind. Thanks. Dean Obadala coming up. Stephanie Miller Show.
a time of very divided government and a very partisan atmosphere in Washington. I wish it were not. I wish the Senate would simply do its job of advice and consent and allow the president to put the persons in his cabinet of his choosing. But if this thing bogs down, it would be a great detriment to the country, to the American people.
So screw advise and consent?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we technically in our first constitutional crisis yet? Are we soaking in it? Because the
We're
election
getting
was
there.
like 2 weeks ago.
We're getting there.
And he's not even
We're getting there.
Because did I read this whole
Yes,
please?
you read it right.
Okay. How
We need to talk to Dean about that when he gets
get used to these headlines. And us going, can they do that? Is
I
that
guess-
legal?
I guess they
can.
can.
We?
Yeah.
Is that?
Mhm. What's it? Uh-huh.
I'm just saying it's going to be 4 years of not completing a sentence because we'll be
Huh?
on to our next constitutional crisis. How Trump and Speaker Johnson could force the Senate to adjourn to allow recess appointments. Well, this is new. Okay, some Capitol Hill Republicans are already starting to deliberate whether Trump has the constitutional pathway to adjourn Congress himself.
Computer says no.
Not, I mean, if we're
Well, if he has help, then
right. Help
in
in
order to
Congress.
clear any possible resistance to his full cabinet appointments. Trump allies are exploring whether a constitutional clause would enable Mike Johnson to work with Trump to shut down Congress, even if the Senate objects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chip Roy, which is a guy and also a putt-putt outside Lubbock, said, I think, it's a combination Rob Roy restaurant and putt-putt, pardon me. He said, I think he should be allowed to have people confirm they're going to help him pass his agenda. I also believe we have to be careful of breaking norms because we saw Nancy Pelosi do that. No.
What
Did
did she do
Nancy
that?
Pelosi never did anything
did
close to
Did
this.
he give specifics on how she broke norms? Okay.
No, they just throw out Pelosi.
What?
Okay. I love this. Does this sum up the entire cowardice of the Republican Party? One Republican lawmaker told Fox News digitally when granted anonymity, the Speaker should not do that, and my hope is the Senate President will have the more of a backbone. In the Trump era, the backbone. That's funny. Okay, if he wanted recess appointments, nominating Matt Gaetz was the worst thing he possibly could have done. When you throw him in there, it's just, you just kill it easily because you just scared the crap out of, I don't know, possibly 30 or 40 Republican senators. I don't know if it's going to matter. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, yes, we're going to get the appointments done, even if Republicans don't fully comply. They need to sit down and get out of the way because it's not going to be tolerated. Oh, dissent will not be tolerated.
Not at all.
Anymore. No dissent, no advice, no consent. Will not be tolerated anymore.
Will not be
And the
tolerated.
beatings will continue until morale improves.
That's your motto around here.
Yes. Well, it seems to have worked so far. Okay. Wow. That was a little jarring. Okay. Oh, I have another guest quote for you.
Oh, okay.
I expect chaos and a series of constitutionally questionable actions exponentially worse than what we saw on day one last time. It's already started. Who said that?
Kermit the Frog.
No, Tara Setmeyer. Sorry, no, wrong. Tara Setmeyer, former Republican strategist, who said the Trump administration is going to plunge America into a cross between the Hunger Games and the Celebrity Apprentice, unfortunately at great expense to the future of our democracy and the humanity of millions of Americans who will suffer at the hands of this gallery of degenerates, the American electorate. Around, and now they're going to find out. Who said that?
Dr. Teeth.
No, that was the aforementioned Tara Setmeyer.
Oh, okay.
She was reading from the same page.
I got it wrong.
Oh,
You're good at it, though.
This is Dan from Binghamton. This is a pitch, because we're all looking at our options. I smell Hulu on this. It's me and my right wing guy. What's his name?
Tom.
Tom, the
Your
guy that calls
boyfriend.
me a bulimic ditch slipper
He's
every
your
day
boyfriend.
on Twitter. Yeah, he is my boyfriend. Dan, subject line: the ditch licker and the incel, a love story. Smells like Hulu to me.
That,
maybe Netflix. I don't know.
that has moonlighting energy written all over it.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It's like it's a will they or won't they.
I love me some rom-coms, as you know. Dear Steph, Tom the incel who lives in his parents' basement and is obsessed with ditch licker Stephanie Miller. He wants to date and kiss and marry you. Get in line, Tom. If he was in school with you, he'd be knocking the books out of your hands. Maybe Tom should try out Tea Party Harmony. Oh, that's right. Maybe that's right. I don't know if that's still in business. Oh, boy. I gotta go. You know what? I kind of miss them. I gotta go check the
Finding
Twitter.
true right-wing love is a challenge. So that's why I created Tea Party Harmony. We're the only site that has the patented 19 dimensions of douchebaggery, where you're certain to find someone just as greedy, xenophobic, and narrow-minded as you.
When I met Sam for our first date at the firing range, it was just boom.
We both know that Obama was born in Hawaii.
But that's not really America.
I don't like taxes.
I'm afraid of brown people.
There's no such thing as nuance at Tea Party Harmony. Don't tread on me.
But I found out he kind of likes that.
Find that one person who's going to love you passionately for the gun-toting Tea Party nut you really are. It all starts with your sociopathic personality profile. Right now, review your compatible wing nuts for free at teapartyharmony.com.
Yay! Okay. Thank you. Kevin in Wisconsin. Yeah, Steph, don't we live in interesting times?
That's one way to put it.
Well, what's
Don't know
that?
if that's...
What's that curse? May you live in interesting times?
Yes.
Yes.
Whoever said that is an idiot.
Is that Confucius?
Now look what you've done. Thanks as always for everything you do. We've never needed you more. Still praying you get the chance to dunk on that mother. Thank you. The way he so richly deserves. Nobody throws down a windmill 360 dunk on these punks like you do when the moment is just right. Not only do I have nowhere else to go, I have no other way to be but to marinate in this stuff. My father was a poli-sci professor. My mom has been keeping Eau Claire County in Wisconsin blue as a county party chair for 2 decades. Thank you, Kevin in Wisconsin. We are in this fight with you. Welcome all the new Morning Joe viewers. Hello. You have a home here. We do not kowtow. We do not bow. Thank you. Wajahat Ali, who I love, talking again about the disinformation problem, said, until this problem is fixed, America is broken. You can't save a country where people are misinformed, confused, lost, deliberately incited to rage. Russia and our enemies won the information war without firing a bullet. We will talk to Malcolm Nance about that tomorrow, but boy howdy. Oh, one less love tweet. Hang on. Welcome to Stupid America. Tweet, Stephanie's on fire today. I like this side of her. I don't like the weepy side. We need fight and ire, not tears. Well, depends on when you tune in. You'll get some crying.
You'll get both.
You'll get some yelling. You'll get
Both sides of the same coin.
Exactly. Okay, Rick the truck driver. Hi, Rick. Do it. Rick, do it. Blow your horn. Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh, just when I need a... Hang on. Hi, Rick. Hello. Oh, damn. All right. I was so desperately in need just then of a truck horn. Oh, well. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Andrew tweets, this is why despite having only 5% of the world's population, the United States suffered nearly 25% of the world's deaths from COVID. Trump wasted a critical 75-day window to get ahead on testing and tracing. How in the ever-loving name of... could anyone ever forget this? Yes, thank you. Right? Memory hole, disinformation. I don't know what to tell you. I meant to talk to Bob about, Malcolm Nance is staying on Twitter, and he is Mel Gibson and Braveheart. He's telling us all to hold. I am also on Blue Sky and on Threads because I have no life of any kind.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's interesting. Party ID among those who regularly use Twitter, I'm not calling it the other thing. In 2022, it was 65% Democratic, 31% GOP. Now it's split evenly, 48, 47%. And that's what I was saying is I don't want to stay in just a liberal bubble. And also my boyfriend, Thom.
Well, you'd miss him.
Yeah, is there, who calls me the bulimic ditch licker.
Right.
Because you need content.
He was my boyfriend!
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right, so I got, and JoJo from Jurors is still there, so I'm not ceding any space. So we will just continue that conversation. We'll see where Malcolm's at with it tomorrow. Brian Tyler Cohen, though, our dear friend, he's coming on in next week. Next week. Mm-hmm. He said, when I say that the right is dominating the left on almost all platforms, this is what I mean. I hope Democratic officials take this into account every day. If you want an ecosystem that will advocate for you, then you need to help build it. Give interviews to creators, break news with creators. A left-wing ecosystem doesn't just happen. You have to facilitate it. The right wing has spent years doing it. They only give interviews and news to right-wing outlets. The left doesn't even come close to doing that. We will not win as long as this media asymmetry exists. And he was referring to an article about influencers leaning right and blah, blah, blah. I'm saying it's a cyclical problem. He has a great podcast, by the way. Support him. And Glenn Kirshner.
And he'll be on in 2 weeks, not next week.
Sorry. Okay.
I did that.
I don't know how to read the calendar. I just figured out. You just showed me how to use Blue Sky yesterday. I couldn't see how you do it. I
It's a lot like Twitter.
I didn't know. I didn't know how to see it.
It looks the most like Twitter.
It does.
Okay. Joe from Jers tweets, so let me see if I have this right. Marge Green is threatening to reveal the secret sexual payoffs for her Republican colleagues have made if they release the findings of an ethics investigation into whether or not Trump's AG pick, Matt Gaetz, raped minors. So this is where we are now? Yes. Fight, fight, fight. Big bag of rats. Get him, Marge. Get him. Get him, get him, get him. Big bag of rats, all equally awful. Don't care who wins. Okay. And finally, Kat tweets, I unpacked our nativity scene yesterday, removed all the Jews, Arabs, and foreigners, ended up with just a jackass and a handful of sheep. That's funny. I haven't taken mine out yet. Or as my ex used to call it, my little doll show.
Your little doll show.
I'd moved so many times for radio that I had filled it in with troll dolls and Cabbage Patch dolls. It wasn't really the original. I replaced at least 2 of the wise men.
I got a couple of new ornaments at Disneyland when I was there last week, and I've set them out, but I haven't put my tree up yet. So
Is it an ornament of a roller coaster?
No. One of them is an ornament of the Incredible Hulk with a Santa hat, and the other one is
for you.
And the other one is Mickey in a train.
Yeah, I don't put up a tree with 2 cats.
Oh.
No, Boots doesn't care
At
about
least you have someone to take it
Boo Boo
down.
never did, but these 2, oh boy.
All right. Our friend Allison Gill wrote, wondering if a good way to preserve all the evidence Jack Smith has is to hand it off to state prosecutors. Even if the cases can't be revived, at least the evidence will be preserved. Just a thought. We'll talk to Glenn Kirshner Friday. I saw him on yesterday because they're trying to figure out what to do with this New York case. It's just so depressing.
It is.
So Alvin Bragg, right? Mm-hmm. So they'd asked, I think they're trying to stop it from being dismissed. It basically would freeze it in amber until he's done
presidenting.
Here's the other good news. You know he's going to commit a lot more crimes, so there will be fresh crimes to prosecute. But yeah, it would be not dismissing it, but would it be withholding sentencing? But I saw Glenn on TV. We'll ask him more about
we can
all
ask
the
Dean
ins and outs.
later. We can ask Dean Obadala later.
Oh, we can. Dean is a lawyer and also a Muslim.
In about 10 minutes, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, maybe I should break now. 18 minutes after the hour.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
The official stem cell of the Stephanie Miller Show. Hi, Victor Shee. We've missed you.
Yeah.
I missed you, too. I was going to say, I went from being named the official stem cell to Dude Bro. I'll take it. Great to see you
none of us have kids, so we're all like, Victor, what's happening with the kids? So you just graduated from UCLA. You were working on the campaign, so you haven't been able to come on in a while. But so we started talking off air, and I wanted to save the conversation for on air because obviously that's a conversation, right, about Joe Rogan. Just give us your thoughts on all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think all of the sort of post-mortem analysis has been really exhausting to hear, but I think generally Joe Rogan wouldn't have helped. I don't think that he would have endorsed Kamala. I don't think that it would have really mattered. But I do think that it's worth having a conversation more generally about sort of where our media is right now and this Republican-controlled media ecosystem that keeps me up at night. I just wrote about this like last week, but when you look at sort of all the mediums of communication, radio, podcasts, cable news, state and local media now, it's pretty much all co-opted and owned by Republicans. And Democrats, I think, have a lot of catching up to do, and I think we have to think a lot about sort of where we go next in terms of where we convey our information, what that looks like, who it reaches, because right now, unfortunately, the most popular shows are all Republican, and I think Democrats have some catching up to do.
Yeah, it's interesting. First of all, the thing that disturbed me the most is that they called that news. I get my news from Joe Rogan.
Yes,
it's not news. But, it is the ecosystem we're in. You're right. And I think Chris brought up, I mean, Mark Maron is a very popular podcast, and he's a left-leaning guy. So, listen, there's a lot of left-leaning, I think, talented broadcasters,
The Stephanie Miller Show.
Oh, yeah, me. Me. I think primarily my point was me.
Of course.
That means doy.
But, like Joe Rogan, we actually talk about other stuff than politics, and so does Mark Maron. I mean, I think that's part of it is that, as we were saying, I don't think anyone wants to hear just like talking points on either side.
Right.
But I agree with you that I think you cannot ignore the massive, not just racism, misogyny, but also disinformation. It'd be different if Kamala Harris lost on things that were true. We were just talking about the massive disinformation campaign that Elon Musk and Russia used. But Victor, I think part of it is why. And it's not just your age group, but why are people so what's the word, susceptible to believing these lies?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I mean, you're exactly right on sort of it's all dependent on where people consume their information. There was this one graphic that I saw at post-election. I don't know which news source put it out, but it looked at who people voted for and which type of information they consumed. And when you look at younger audiences who voted for Trump, they consumed their information through YouTube and through these podcasts. And then the older you got, it was more newspaper and more cable TV, and they tended to vote more for Democrats. So that was really interesting to see. But to your point about why people are so susceptible, I think it's a fundamental sort of shift in our culture away from things like civics and we don't have information or media literacy. I mean, those are all very long-term solutions, I think, to this really immediate problem. But, states are doing a really bad job at teaching civics and how to consume information. I think that we have to start building that up, whatever that looks like, on the state level going forward.
Yeah. It's interesting because you're an educated guy. Obviously, you graduated from the wrong university, UCLA.
Yes.
No, that's the right
about
one.
it all
That's
the
where
time.
I graduated
I say
from,
as a
so
USC
it's okay.
grad. But my point is, Victor, that, again, I know we deal with this whole liberals, elites, and they're talking down to people. I mean, to me, it's not even necessarily education because some of the smartest people I know didn't go to college. I'm not.
Totally.
It's just critical thinking skills.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's.
Yep.
We were talking about the college protesters.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
of course in record time they're all saying, "Oh my God, what did we vote for?" And "Oh, we got played by Trump." And I'm like, no, not if you listen to anything he ever said. You knew that he would be a disastrous choice for Palestinians. But
I mean, there was a whole. I was stunned by. After the election, there was this image where it showed all the Google searches, and one of the things that spiked after the election was, "Who is president? Is Biden still president? Or can I change my vote?"
Did he drop out? Did Biden drop out?
Did Biden drop out? Right. I mean, it's things like that where, and it just speaks to. I mean, the ways that people consume information are so different.
You're doing something wrong if you're not freaking out. I'm just telling you. Attorney General Rapey McForehead. Think about it. Okay, so there has been, I guess, a hacker reportedly gained access to the file containing damaging testimony against Matt Gaetz. It apparently was a secure link among lawyers whose clients testified against Gaetz. The file is said to include sworn testimony by the woman who said she had sex with Gaetz when she was 17, in addition to testimony by a second woman who said she had witnessed them having sex. The material does not appear to have been made public yet by the hacker. I don't know if this came from that, but so the reporting is he paid more than $10,000 to these two women who later testified against him. They were Venmo'd and reportedly labeled with such notes as gift, car deductible, and refreshments. Other notes show comments such as being awesome and extra for you.
Nice.
Okay, were there emoticons? Or
Probably.
like that little one with the, like the tongue out and one eye.
Yeah.
Or the like devil horns. Here's some.
Smiling devil.
He'd be the top law enforcement officer, Chris, you see in the country. Would be the
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Trey Gowdy, when you've lost Trey Gowdy, he says calls Matt Gaetz an absurd pick. He said, I don't know how you felt about the documents case in Florida or Jack Smith in January 6th, but when you look at all of them and think there's a possibility they can now all be dissolved 0 for 4, said Bill Hemmer to him, you are a man of the law. That's your profession. What do you think of how this went? Gowdy said, do not use the justice system as a weapon. Oh, I bet Trump and Rapey will get right on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The message for Republicans is don't do it on the other side either, because both sides do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Joe Biden, as you remember, weaponized the Justice Department against his own son, if you recall how that went.
Uh-huh.
And with this absurd AG pick you just made, justice is different. Voters rejected it in November and will reject it if Republicans try to do it. Some things rise above the din. The justice system is one of those things. I am hearing an awful lot of people saying, I didn't vote for this, or I didn't think this. I didn't think the leopard would eat my face.
Well, the leopard was there.
Our friend Frank Flaguzzi, former FBI, argues that Joe Biden should order background checks and investigations of Trump's cabinet picks. That is interesting. I
agree. He should.
He said whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, regardless of whether you're energized or enraged by Trump's controversial picks, you should be concerned about the possibility of a vetting process that's really no process at all. But yeah, once again, what did we say yesterday? Private background checks, so a company they pay to say, this guy's cool. Yeah. Biden should neither be ashamed nor afraid to thoroughly investigate Trump's pick, given the signs that Trump may not. Through executive order, he should mandate that the FBI conduct background investigation on Trump's picks and instruct the FBI to begin the process now. The U.S. Senate should use this power to request the same of the FBI. The clock is ticking. I think that's good advice.
I think it's a great idea.
I'm for any and all of the above before.
Well, I mean, Joe Biden is immune.
In Dark Brandon period.
He can do anything.
Can Dark Brandon get darker, please, during these last...
Like more lasers coming out of his eyes?
Yes. Okay, let's carry the 4 divided by. Okay. Don in Napomo. Am I saying that right? Hi, Don.
You are. Good. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
First of all, thanks for Sexy Liberal LA. I know it's a little bit...
1,000 years ago.
But,
2 weeks ago when we were 50 years younger.
Wasn't it just joyous and wonderful? And it's like,
by the way, I'm posting pictures
now
now finally from all of my socials. You know, if you want to, seriously, it will inspire you and make you laugh. Go to sexyliberal.com. You can still get the pay-per-view. Because you know what? That same spirit is going to carry us forward, in this next...
It is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like and kind, like-minded people. And it's just like... we've both been... on the roller coaster of dealing with all this. And I noticed a couple of days ago you said that ratings for MSNBC were down.
Yeah.
And I personally quit watching them. So my question was for Chris, how do we know, how do the powers that be know that we've switched from one to another? For instance, I watch you guys sometimes on free speech, sometimes on live stream.
Yeah.
How does the powers that be know that?
Keep doing that. We don't have technical ratings on Free Speech TV or Sirius XM. Right. We have other ways of quantitating.
Right.
But yes, 11 billion Morning Joe viewers are now with us. So thank you.
Bible and takes the oath of office. As he has said, the occupation ends, Liberation Day begins. He will immediately sign executive orders, sealing the border shut, beginning the largest deportation operation in American history.
The soothing tones of Baby Goebbels. Stephen Miller. Okay. Sorry. God, does he creep me out? Yeah, I was looking for something for Dean. Hang on. All right, I got it. Here we go. Guess who's here? It's our good friend. Our good.
He's around here somewhere.
All right, hang on. Hold on, Dean. You're not here yet. All right.
Okay, here we go.
He has written a fantastic piece we link to.
Here he comes. This is Dean.
All right.
Yes, it's Dino Badala. Dino Badala.
Hi, Dean.
Hello.
Now we're ready.
Was that Stephen Miller? Is
Yes.
that Stephen Miller you just played?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm glad he's finally against occupation. Maybe that'll help my family out in the West Bank. That's kind of nice. Republicans actually coming out against occupation. I actually feel pretty good about this now. My whole view of Trump has changed. This guy's great.
Can I just say, Dean, I gave you a shout out the other day, like these heartbreaking headlines, like Muslims in Michigan are like, oh, we got played by Trump, or I didn't know, wait, what? I was like, I gave you a shout out and said, Dean, who is part Palestinian, you could not have been more, full-throated on the need to support Kamala Harris and what a disaster Trump would be for Palestinians. And here we are in record-breaking, heartbreaking time, right? Mike Huckabee, ambassador to Israel, who doesn't even believe Palestinians exist.
I'm not even here. I don't know who you're talking to right now.
I don't even see anybody. I'm
not here. I'm an apparition. I just came out of a Shakespearean play. So, look, it's true. Look, but our community is diverse. There were Muslims, according to some post-election polls, it looks like Vice President Harris maybe got 20 or 30% in the Arab community there in some of the big towns. And then Trump got a little more and Stein got some. But at the end of the day, the estimate was about 20,000 votes switched in the Arab Muslim community to Trump from Biden. It's still Vice President Harris lost the state by 80,000. I wish we were more powerful of a community that actually could have made a huge difference. Yeah. We didn't, but it still is a lot of pain in my community right now.
And
but going forward, Trump's awful.
Jody and I were saying white women. How do you, white women that voted, for reproductive rights and also for the guy that took away their reproductive rights, the rapist. We were talking about Latinos that have already been interviewed, going, oh well, he's not going to deport our family, is he? Because our Latinos that have undocumented family here are saying like they voted for him because what? Oh, they don't mean us. I mean. The disinformation, Dean, that's why like what you do and John Fugel saying and hopefully all of us is so important because
I thought you said I do disinformation. I do it with a capital D.
No.
Disinformation, it rhymes with Dean, stands with D, or P or something like that. I'm not sure. It's Music Man. I'm doing it. I'm on the road.
No, listen, I am so happy to be in this fight with you. And I what do you call it? Link to your piece. Joe Scarborough just surrendered to Trump, but we never ever will. Thank you for being in this fight with me. I was all over on Twitter. You were just like you said. We are less than 3 weeks after the election that Scarborough told us pitted fascism versus democracy. Yet he has surrendered to Trump. This is the type of capitulation others engaged in, thinking it would keep the fascists from coming for them. And then you just did the headline. You said he was Hitler. Jon Stewart mocks Mika Brzezinski, asking why they shouldn't meet with Trump. You said, given morning, Joe and Mika now sucking up to Trump. I wanted to reshare my clip. I saw it. You were fantastic when you were on Joy Reid, and you said,
that was Friday. That was before the thing on Monday.
Yes, you said, we will never surrender to Trump. We will take the fight to him. We will not meet him halfway on his fascism. We know who he is. More importantly, we know who we are. That's the important thing. It didn't change who we are, what happened with the election results, right?
Right. That's the thing. I mean, look, I was on Joy's show Friday, and she asked me, what are your listeners saying? I said, the listeners are saying, they want Democrats to be fighters.
Thank you.
They don't want any talk of compromise. And I said, I line up perfectly with my listeners. We're taking the fight to Trump. We're not meeting him halfway. There's no benefit of the doubt. There's no, let's see, maybe he's going to change. He's not. We know who he is. We know who we are. And that's the important part. We're not going to compromise our values to this guy. That's why what Mika and Joe did, especially Joe, I thought it was the Onion. That's what I wrote in my article. I actually thought, I was off on Monday from work. I took a day off to relax. And I saw it. I'm like, this is not real. And I'm like, it's real. So on my off day, I still wrote that article. I'm like, I have to write about this. The idea of telling us This election pits fascism versus democracy.
Yeah.
He literally, a week before election, day, mocked those who said he was being over the top, mocking them, going, you're going to say in 3 months, Joe, you were right. We should have listened. Here we are 3 weeks later. He flies to Mar-a-Lago, kisses the ring, and says he's doing it like Neville Chamberlain in a way, peace for our time. I'm doing it to share insights. No, you're doing this for your own agenda, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
And in record time, Trump sends a tweet mocking them. Nikki Haley, Fox News, mocking them for how pathetic they are. And for the life of me, business-wise, Dean, I don't see how they thought this was going to help them get their liberal audience back, or this is what liberals want. I mean, yeah.
They know. I saw ratings already from the first night.
Oh, yeah.
The overnight ratings from Monday to Tuesday dropped 35% in the key demographic, and we'll find out more. The fallout from listeners, and you saw it on social media, I'm sure your listeners as well. It's not like they were people who didn't take a position on the election. They were some of the loudest critics of Donald Trump. So the question is, were you just BSing us? Were you just telling us that because you thought it fed the audience?
Yeah, they have no credibility now.
Well, I don't need them anymore. I'm going to go now be pro-Trump. So we can't. No one can believe them. The right can't believe them. The left can't believe them. They should resign. They should not. I'm not saying cancel them. I'm like, you have no credibility. You should just leave and go do a podcast and go do something else because this is ridiculous.
There is a show that has experience in that time slot
yes.
that could replace them.
They made an egregious error when not choosing the Stephanie Miller
That's
show
right.
11 billion years ago.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
You had mentioned some points, though, just pointing out the hypocrisy, Dean, that I'd forgotten about. Joe showed this is a week before the election. He showed the headline: Trump calls for Cheney's execution. The host then mocked those who didn't believe his warnings that Trump was a fascist, saying they'd go, "Oh Joe, so condescending." 3 months later, "Oh, we should have listened to you, Joe." I mean, how do you? On and on, right? You said it's one thing to say we want to reach certain people who voted for Trump, especially younger people, those who voted for Democratic presidential candidates in the past, to understand why they supported Trump in 24. But heading to Trump's crime lair to meet with a convicted felon, educated rapist, and man who attempted a coup is indefensible. You don't need to go kiss the ring to report on somebody.
Right. No, and to be very fair, if Trump would have contacted them and say, "I'm going to come to 30 Rock, and you can ask me any questions you want. I'm president-elect," that would be a different scenario. That's not what it was. They said they reached out to him. They went there. And now the reporting is it's because they were worried about their personal
scared.
safety.
Welcome to the
whatever.
club. That's how we begin.
Right.
What is it? You either hang together or you hang separately. That's why we all have to. Right.
And it's not that didn't make it better. That made it worse. That means you intentionally abandon us instead of standing with us in the fight. The history of fascism is if you can either submit or fight. Those who submit, it doesn't turn out well for you. Especially people who were the enemy, perceived like the enemy, like Joe and Mika, they're going to come for them on the right. There's no doubt. If Matt Gaetz gets confirmed, God forbid, or anyone else, a Republican like Matt Gaetz, who's going to use DOJ to prosecute enemies.
And it's not going to save you. It just makes you look weak and pathetic. You think Trump's going to spare you? He's just going to mock you like he already did. I mean, and you said it's the final nail in the coffin of cable news having any credibility. And you said the demise of cable news and corporate media in general has been building. And you just were talking about, I mean, how you should start like a psychic network because you were on Joy Reid, as you were saying, before this happened.
Friday, we're going to stand and fight. And then they're like, nope, we're going to go to Mar-a-Lago. I'm like, that's a different take. I wasn't approaching that idea. I had
By the way,
my listeners last night, I'm not going to Mar-a-Lago because Trump's ring. We'll go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it doesn't get to that, Stephanie, but sincerely, all of us are activists. We stand with these communities that are our fellow vulnerable communities. And if that meant we had to go to jail to defend them, so be it. I don't think we get that, but I think I'm on list 3. Like, you're gone first.
Yeah.
If they take Stephanie, I'm leaving.
Yeah, I don't know where Muslims or lesbians are, but I'm just hoping all the comedians were in the one, because we'll just make each other laugh. I want to be in the camp with the other comedians.
You think we'll have Wi-Fi? That's all I care about.
By the way, either you complete me or you listen to me, but you quoted, as I did yesterday, "We shall fight them on the beaches, we shall fight them on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the street, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never, ever surrender." Thank you. Winston Churchill.
That's it, Churchill. I like it very much. You have to fight all the time.
And you said, "We too shall never surrender. This must be our creed and promise for the next 4 years as we take the fight to Trump." Thank you. I mean, I was saying, I gave him a chance the next day, and his reaction was even more smug and condescending. Oh, it's just all my friends have been calling and saying it's great that, it's just a few social media cranks. That's not the real world. It's like, well, take a look at your ratings immediately and go, it's not just a few cranks on social media, right?
Right. The idea that we're not the real world because we're on social media, and that's how we instantaneously respond to things, is outrageous. And I found it so dismissive and elitist and arrogant. And it reminds you, he was a Republican member of Congress. He comes from a different world. That's why I think, Stephanie, so much going forward, the leaders of the movement going forward can't be the former Republican never Trumpers. They can do their thing. They're great. On the Democratic side, we have to start talking policy. And we are progressive. So it can't just be resist Trump. That's important. But also economic populism. A policy that help our fellow Americans. And it's going to be, in a way, class warfare like Thom Hartmann's talked about.
Yeah, and
you got to take the fight to them.
And that's why, again, all of you progressive warriors on this, Sirius XM Progress Channel and Free Speech TV, all of our friends, because this is what we're up against: 25 focus groups and $45 million. Advisors to Elon Musk pitted people against each other to cause a rift in the Democratic Party and depress turnout for Kamala Harris. This was 2016 2.0. Right? They found Muslims were bombarded by ads promoting Harris's backing of Israel, while Jewish voters were told she was supportive of Palestine. Left-wingers were told she's abandoned the progressive dream, while more conservative voters heard of her liberal agenda. I mean, sorry, Alan Lichtman was right. It's disinformation was the key thing that threw off any other, political, what do you call it, prognostication that you could have, right?
Certainly. And then look, what Elon Musk did was all legal. He invested, he didn't donate, he invested over $100-something million. Yeah. We'll find out the details, to make more money, to have more power. So he runs ads with focus groups, pitting groups against each other. All of this is legal. And there's something deeply wrong about billionaires running our nation and the oligarch class rising up that is happening now. And Elon Musk is going to set policy because Trump doesn't care about any policy. He's going to let the billionaires. He has billionaires in his cabinet right now. His transition team's headed by 2 billionaires. This is the coming oligarchy right in front of us. And that's what we have to fight, to take the power from the billionaires, give it back to the people. And that's going to take Democrats who are fighters. Because we're not going to be like, let's just work together.
Alan Lichtman's keys are based on the actual economy, not people's disinformation about the economy, which is what they voted on. If we had lost because the economy was actually bad, and again, corporate greed is the entire reason for prices, period. Kamala Harris talked about that. Donald Trump didn't.
Donald Trump and MAGA have zero policy ideas to reduce inflation. But they do have ideas to increase inflation. Just yesterday, Walmart, they reported earnings, and Target today, and both said Trump's tariffs, if enacted, 20% on all foreign goods and 60% of those from China will cause higher consumer prices because they can't absorb that. They have to pass it along to us. Of course. It's inflation. It's a built-in inflation.
Yep. All right, Dean, when we come back, I was saying, how many smart people have started conversations with me privately since the election with, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but. Smart people I respect, like you and Thom Hartmann and Jen Kirkman and John Pavlovitz, have questions about particularly the swing states. I want to talk about that because you've been talking and tweeting about it when we come back. 47 minutes.
for the decision.
Dino Badala's here. Okay, I have so much to get to. So I mentioned how many people have said to me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist bust. But first of all, I don't give a what the right wing. They've been whining and crying about a stolen election for 4 years and literally on the Capitol. So if we have some questions, you, first of all, right wing. Kevin wrote, I'm with Sue. In Rockville at this point, I do think Elon Musk used Starlink to meddle in all the swing states. I'm going to let you address that and what you found. Alan said, Steph, please at least acknowledge that there should be investigation of anomalies in election results in swing states. I know it sounds like Republicans last time, but it's not the same. Here we have some data which isn't proof but calls for further investigation, i.e. recounts. In the swing states, the number of ballots voting for Trump only, no down ballot races, was way, way above normal, and all those votes were for Trump. Normal is far less than 1% in the swing states, and only in the swing states it was high as 11%. The only way to figure out whether those were legitimate votes, which seems highly unlikely, is to do a hand recount. The only person withstanding to get that done is Kamala Harris. Either there were 600,000 president-only votes across 7 swing states, or there were not. Let's find out. So I've seen you tweeting about it. So where are you on this and why? Can you tell us?
The whole election was rigged. It's stolen.
Oh my God! I knew it. All right, go ahead.
Who wants to go for a wild time at the Capitol? I'm going to be there. I'm going January 4th, though. I'm not going the 6th.
Just to throw them off.
The 6th. I'm cheap, so I'll go January 4th. No one will be there.
Dean's there all by himself on the 4th.
50%. That's it. So, look, it's not rigged. If there are questions, that's what I wrote an article like a week and a half ago for Substack about we're not election deniers. If we're asking questions in good faith, the convicted felon Donald Trump cheat in the 2024 election, considering he's convicted of cheating in the 2016 election and charged with felonies for attempting to cheat in the 2020 election.
He's a lifelong cheater.
He's the felon cheating again. I don't know what's the problem.
He's a lifelong cheater and liar. And so you can understand where people are like, it's, between Elon Musk and Putin and Netanyahu and all the people that had and Trump primarily in staying out of prison. I do understand why people have questions. You know what? If a hand recount in even one swing state makes people feel better, I'm for that, right?
I agree. And when I wrote my article for Substack and talked about it on my show, I recommended Homeland Security, Biden's, have a press conference and have one every 4 years after a presidential election to discuss what they found and what they didn't find, to make sure they can say there's no evidence at all that any voting machines were connected to the internet, because they shouldn't be connected to the internet. And you would trust it. It's Biden. You want to hear that. With recounts, look, the window is really closed for any request for a recount by the candidate. I was just looking earlier today on various states. And you have to pay for it. She's in debt. And they're not close enough to trigger an automatic recount in any of the states. Wisconsin was the closest, and that was 20,000 vote loss. So, look, that window is kind of closed, but people's concerns are not closed. There was just a poll in The Economist. Only 50+% of Democrats, like 53%, think the election was without any questions and fully legitimate. That's frightening, because if we give up on believing in elections, democracy ends, because the right already has given up on it. So for me, I come from a place of I want my fellow Democrats to believe in it. And if that means having some recounts and having DHS address it on national TV with reporters asking questions, then do that. And the Biden team should do that. They should do that now. They can have DHS do a press conference, Secretary Mayorkas, answer questions, and that would go a long way. It won't satisfy everyone, but it would go a long way.
All they're screaming about it being rigged all the way right up to the election, and then also Trump saying you won't have to vote again. I understand why a lot of people just have suspicions, So, Dean, we're out of time again. I love you so much.
Love you too. I love you guys.
Lisa and Nadine, support him here on Sirius XM Progress. We love you. Carlos has Rocky. Next.
If Trump's pick for Attorney General is confirmed by the Senate, of course, a big if tonight, they will have a long to-do list, including ending weaponized government, Trump's words, protecting the border, dismantling criminal organizations, rooting out corruption at the Justice Department, and fighting crime. And I have new reporting tonight on who Trump may install in the second highest position there at the DOJ. I'm told Trump is seriously considering naming his lead attorney that you may recognize from his criminal cases, who represents him there, Todd Blanche, to serve as the next deputy attorney general. Though I should note tonight, nothing has been finalized. My legal sources are here. A pair of former federal prosecutors, and Ellie Honig and Elliot Williams, and also the conservative attorney who was once actually, if you can remember that far back, considered by Trump to be his Solicitor General, the number 3 at the Justice Department. Now outspoken Trump critic George Conway. That was a very long introduction. George?
Yes?
Your thoughts?
Everybody's like shocked, surprised. There's nothing surprising about this. Matt Gaetz, in a lot of ways, is the perfect attorney general for Donald Trump. Okay? I mean, we have a convicted criminal who's a president, who has been adjudicated to engage in sexual abuse. So why not select a guy who has been loyal to him and who wants to seek revenge in the same way Donald Trump does, and who was accused of sex trafficking. He's the perfect choice. So I don't know why everybody's surprised.
And the interesting thing about it is that it sort of dispenses any pretense of respect for the institution, right? And there's any number of picks that the former and I guess soon-to-be president could have put in place that would have at least respected, number one, the people who work there, and number two, the very enterprise of prosecuting people.
He doesn't care about that.
Well, that's my point, George.
That's been a lot of our points.
But we're all in agreement here. Let's be clear. But it's just fascinating because I feel like I worked for 4 different attorneys general, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, vastly different people, John Ashcroft to Loretta Lynch, nothing in common whatsoever. They all respected the work of the institution, even in their policy differences. And what you have here is somebody who literally has contempt, not just for the body of the Justice Department, but the people who work there.
Ellie, can I just also say before you make your point, I read that if he is confirmed, he would be the first attorney general in 4 decades that has never been a government attorney or a judge before this. So it's not even just, everything that we talked about. It's also the experience question that the other nominees have faced as well.
It's such an important point about the utter lack of qualifications. I mean, Matt Gaetz is aggressively unqualified for this position. He's never been a prosecutor. He's never really practiced law at any big-time level. He has no idea what it means to stand up in a court and to represent the United States and to try to take away someone's liberty. And I do want to underscore the stakes here. When you're talking about the Attorney General of the United States, this person is in charge of 110,000 employees, 94 U.S. attorneys' offices, the entire FBI, the entire DEA, the entire ATF, the Solicitor General, who handles all the Supreme Court litigation for the government, the U.S. Marshals, the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
This is a man who he certainly couldn't be hired as an assistant United States attorney in any major district. He probably couldn't be hired as a paralegal. He probably wouldn't even pass a background check.
I think a better way to think about it, I have to disagree with you, Ellie, that he doesn't have experience. He certainly does have experience with the Justice Department. It's just simply being investigated for sex crimes. Now, this is not a serious pick. And again, I want to get back to the bipartisan question.
And just to note, he did deny that. He was never charged.
He was never charged. A close associate of his but no, he was never charged with crime.
No, but he did show pictures of naked women on the House floor to one of his colleagues. I think there was some clip about that earlier, and he talked about how he put Viagra in his energy drink and bragged about that on the House floor.
Can we talk about what would happen? Because this is a question. Tammy Duckworth was talking about what would happen at the Pentagon if Pete Hegseth is confirmed there, she thinks. I mean, the idea that there would be maybe mass resignations at the DOJ if this happens, I mean, the Trump team might look at that and say, okay, great. Like in the first term, Trump would have feared that and the backlash. But I think this time they'd be like, okay, we're fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit overblown. I mean, look, people come and go. Republican presidents come and go. Democratic presidents come and go. People stay. And of these 110,000 people that Ellie talked about, most of them have been there throughout administrations. Now, look, there are people in some positions who might be turned off by a particular administration and want to leave. But I think this notion of people leaving the Justice Department en masse, I think, is a little bit overblown.
And to your reporting, Caitlin, about Todd Blanche being considered for deputy AG, right?
Who is a former federal prosecutor, came from Southern District of New York. So you obviously know him.
He's a real lawyer.
What do you make of that consideration? It's not final yet, but I'm told Trump is very seriously considering doing so.
That is as good a pick as you're going to get for Deputy AG. And Deputy AG is the workhorse. Deputy AG really runs the show. The AG is sort of the show pony. Todd is a real lawyer. Everyone knows him from the hush money trial on the defense side, where I think he did a capable job. I had some criticisms of what he did, but I think he did a good job. But he grew up in the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Southern District of New York. He understands the principles. And I think I don't think, look, I'm not the political guy, but I don't think Gaetz is going to get through. But if we get a subpar AG, ultimately, you're going to need a really good deputy to babysit that person.
I mean, you're probably right. He's not going to get through. Yeah. Gaetz is not going to get through. But you can never go bankrupt betting on the spinelessness of Republican senators like the one we just saw a few minutes ago.
You know, and what the other thing is we mentioned Trump's to-do list. January 6 pardons were not on there. Trump has made clear he wants to pardon January 6 rioters. The question, I think, is this a blanket pardon for all of them? Do they differentiate between the ones who were convicted of literally assaulting police officers and then just the ones who were on Capitol grounds that day that were also arrested? Do they change that? I mean, that is going to be a big question in the hands of this Justice Department, in addition to what Ellie just laid out there.
Yeah, and not just do they pardon them, do they not pardon them, but extend clemency, leave their convictions in place, but simply get them out of prison? Look, the pardon power under the Constitution is vast. It's virtually limitless. And it's the president's prerogative. Presidents across administrations have chosen to implement it however they've wanted. And who knows? But any of these options are certainly realistic and possible, Caitlin, for the president to follow.
Also, if you're Attorney General, what kind of access to information? I mean, you have access to everything, right, Ellie?
Everything. Every one of those agencies I just named, FBI, Bureau of Prisons, it's a staggering responsibility. I don't know that Matt Gaetz even has the first understanding of what it means to be the Attorney General of the United States. I mean, look, there is only one agency, only one body of the federal government that can deprive a person of their liberty, and that's the Justice Department. And that's why, to me, it's an offensive pick. It's somebody who's so outrageously unqualified. And on top of that, not just partisan. It's okay I mean, there have been partisans as AG before, but someone whose entire identity is built on I'm an attack dog. And one of the big questions heading into this new administration is just how far is Donald Trump going to go? And look, I've been sort of, I think I've been measured about, I don't buy into some of the worst case scenarios, but if Matt Gaetz becomes Attorney General, that is...
I mean, I got to say that, if that is true. Now, what I've said about Matt Gaetz is 100% true. Every word that I've said was accurate.
That would be Senator Mark Wayne, Jim Bob, John Boy.
What has he said about?
Colby.
Yes. He has said he is an a-hole.
Okay.
And that he showed people pictures on the house floor of girls he
still,
slept with.
he loves the guy.
Yes. All right.
I will say we'll go through this process like we should. And if that is in the report, then that is going to be very problematic to move forward. There's no question Matt's going to have an uphill battle. And it's going to be a really difficult fight to get him confirmed, but I'm not saying it's impossible. And if it's what the president wants, then we're going to do our due diligence. As I said, we're going to advise and consent.
If it's what the other rapist wants, then sure, rapist, why not? We have more.
If somebody, an employee, were to show another employee on a phone naked pictures of somebody that they're interacting with, in many companies, that unto itself would be grounds for firing. Meaning if you were to call the HR department of most companies in the Fortune 500, that would be the end. There wouldn't be a conversation about it after that. How do you think about that versus the circumstance that you're being tasked with today? And do you think that corporate America is wrong to have those policies in place?
Well, Andrew, I have to look at this in a different manner, right? His constituents is who elected him, and his constituents knew exactly what it is, so they rehired him.
By the way, the HR department here at the Stephanie Miller Show encourages you to show me as many nude pictures as you can. Oh, Chris shows me lots of, nearly nude pictures of various muscular men, which I enjoy very much.
They're mostly for Frangela.
Well,
that's true.
Yeah, but I'm here, so okay. I supervise it as HR.
I see.
Okay, one last one.
Now, if we're going back and we're going to start talking about scrutiny of different people that have been put in positions or been appointed by presidents, we have to go back and scrutinize the appointments that President Biden put in place, too. We can talk about Rachel Assistant Secretary of HHS. There's pretty controversial questions to figuring out what pronoun's going to be used. We can talk about Sam, the guy who was in the Department of Energy who couldn't figure out if that was his luggage or not and kept stealing people's luggage. You can talk about Pete Buttigieg and the controversial decision to put him in Department of Transportation.
What was controversial about that?
Oh, because he's
a gay.
that way.
He's a gay.
Oh my God, I can't. I need my man.
That's good coffee.
I take it black, like my man.
Coffee with Carlos sells Rocky.
Have a Zimbabwe latte. I'll have a Kenya cappuccino.
Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home. Mountain grown coffee. Carlos sells Rocky.
I was going to make espresso.
Handpicked by Juan Valdez.
Coffee with Carlos.
Good to the last drop.
Hola, Carlos.
Hola. I was just figuring out what pillow I was going to take on our scooter van down to Mar-a-Lago to beg leniency. I have a Speed Racer pillow, and I have an Iron Giant pillow, and I'm not sure which one to take.
I loved your thread or whatever it was. You said Donald Trump isn't for everyone. Just for the people whose takeaway from watching It's a Wonderful Life was that George Bailey was a loser and Mr. Potter was the good guy.
Yep.
It's true. We're all going to be living in Potterville now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Merry Christmas, liberals in jail.
Oh boy!
And again, yeah, this is to me.
Every time
like
a rapist gets appointed, another angel coughs up blood.
Yeah, another reference for you is that everybody thinks that the Grinch, just because he came to Christmas dinner and sliced the roast beef, is still a nice guy. No, the Grinch is still the Grinch. Trump's heart did not grow 3 sizes that day. His revenge.
He was just hungry.
The Grinch didn't hate Christmas; he just hated people.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah,
he hated people.
That's a year-long thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Year-round. Yeah.
Why are they not wearing patches on their ears?
You retweeted Andrew, who said, "Congratulations, everyone! New Brunswick measles outbreak spreads to 44 people, mostly unvaccinated children."
Yeah.
And now we have who's the other latest guy Grampy saw on the TV? Dr. Oz.
Yes.
Who you remember? He said, if we lose 2 to 3% of school kids,
It's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just brush your teeth with raw milk from the Amish.
What is pasteurization has gone out of vogue now as well?
Yes.
Is that what's happening? Yeah. And I was saying that taking fluoride out of the water helps you speak deedly better and helps it helps the vittles go in quicker, right?
Get that whistle and Seprazone. Seprazone.
Vittles is ready.
Seprazone. Vittles is ready.
Hey, little boy, got a treat made of popsicles.
You don't have to worry about vaccinations as long as your kids are vaccinated, but that's not the point. If more kids get sick at school, then it's a problem on the student body, on the curriculum, on teachers. Teachers could get sick. The scarcity of vaccines will become a problem.
Yeah.
Just follow the science.
Yeah. I got to find the nickname for Bobby Jr. something. It was something brainworm whale saw or something. I don't know. It's just every day gets more and more ridiculous. Yeah. Yes. It's just every day gets more ridiculous. This is why when anyone does anything that approaches journalism, I'm very happy. I know. Because did we just talk yesterday? Is it Oklahoma? They're literally, I believe they're 48th for
48th
education. I think they're 50th in testing.
Yeah.
But they want to put Bibles in the school because that'll...
Trump Bibles.
Trump Bibles.
Trump Bibles,
Yes.
correct. Pamela Brown of CNN doing some bull.
The question, where is your authority specifically coming from? As you know, thousands of people, including parents who signed a petition to impeach you with more than 14,000 signatures at last check, say this is government overreach and you're taking control away from local parents, local school boards and parents over their kids. What do you say to that, and where is your authority coming from to enforce this prayer video to be played in schools?
I appreciate you pushing that left-wing narrative here, but here's the reality.
It's not a left-wing narrative. I'm literally talking about a petition that parents have signed that's gotten more than 14,000 signatures that have raised this issue.
It's clear on religious liberty. The Constitution's crystal clear on religious liberty.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, exactly.
It is. First of all, the Constitution is not crystal clear on that. It doesn't have God in it. There is this establishment clause in the First Amendment, which the Supreme Court has routinely said it requires the separation of church and state and public schools. There are many cases hold on, I'm speaking. There are many cases where the Supreme Court has routinely ruled on that. You went after woke teachers and the radical left in your announcement for attacking religious liberty, but your critics are saying that by requiring Bibles in every classroom and requiring this prayer video, you're trying to impose your religion on students in violation of the Establishment Clause. They say the Constitution, scholars say the Constitution is crystal clear on freedom of religion, not enforcing one religion, your religion, on students.
Boy, that's one gift Kamala Harris gave women everywhere. I'm speaking. Thank you.
Oh, man. He had the Dr. Strangelove his backhand during that interview. I want to hit her. I just want to swing at her.
Yes, and then she pointed out they're
Talk about Oklahoma history, because Oklahoma is 48th in the country when it comes to education. It's ranked 48th in the country. Your critics say the money that you're spending on the Bible, I'm putting Bibles in every classroom, you've asked for $6 million, should be spent in other ways to better educate the students, because they're very worried about where Oklahoma is ranked in the education system. What do you say to that?
We are in the middle of a turnaround here because we are following President Trump's agenda. This is the agenda for the entire country. We have school choice. We have merit pay. We are rejecting this left-wing ideology in the classroom. We are promoting American exceptionalism. And look, we are pressing students forward to see academic outcomes improve.
I'm surprised you didn't go.
Facts is what he's saying.
48th ain't so bad as in that there's 73,
there's 81,
73
48
states.
out of 81 is pretty
out of
good.
73 states, that ain't bad.
Hey, at least we're not a floating pile of garbage out in the middle of the ocean like Puerto Rico. Oh, by the way, that says that in the Bible, in Trump's Bible. Yea, behold, the floating pile of garbage that Jesus called Puerto Rico.
Carlos, I mentioned this earlier, but, and again, not to like make us feel better or like we're living in a liberal bubble. It's just facts. When they keep saying this mandate and landslide thing, CNN's senior data reporter examined the shrinking nature of Trump's popular vote win, suggested it busts the MAGA world narrative. The president has a mandate to run the country however he wants because he won in a landslide. Trump currently has 49.9% of the counted votes compared to Harris 48.2%. That 1.7 margin compares to the 2.1 margin that Hillary Clinton beat Trump by in the 2016 popular vote. Yep. That stat, they said, is something I'm sure Trump would be thrilled we just said out loud. Joe Biden beat Trump by 4.4% margin. Yep. And so Enton just said Trump's mandate isn't all that. His popular vote victory, compared to those historically speaking over the last 200 years, ranks 44th out of 51. That ain't exactly strong. You'd have to go all the way back to 2000 and George W. Bush to find a weaker popular vote victory than Trump has. So just don't let them use it to demoralize you and feel like you're like, oh, God, we're so out of touch, right?
Yeah, we are not out of touch. And again, as I tweeted this morning, don't normalize it. Don't be one of these media companies that, like the Scarboroughs and the Mikas, that normalize Trump's, bent towards fascism.
Yeah.
I hate the press. He's done it since 2016. They're fake. Get them out of here. These people, they don't like you. They lie to you. He's birthed that a long time ago.
And so mean and personal to them. Scarborough murdered an intern. How many times has he called Mika Brzezinski dumb and crazy and bleeding from a facelift? And oh my God,
and she keeps coming back for more.
Yeah.
I get a sense that if you want to be a moral person and you want to have some sense of forgiveness and be the bigger person, but it doesn't work with Trump because you're multiplying by zero.
And I think leaking the news that it's because they were scared, it makes it even worse. It makes them seem like even bigger cowards. We were saying, marginalized people that are truly scared in this country, and they're like these white TV millionaires. They're so scared they got to go kiss the ring, and he's not going to spare them. He already mocked them on Twitter the minute they left. For groveling.
He's everything De Niro says he is. He's a mother, low-down scum, piece of crap, mother, son of a mother.
Yeah, so I'm saying. Okay, so on the Air Force One, where Donald Trump, speaking of which, humiliated Bobby Kennedy by making him eat McDonald's right after Bobby Kennedy called it poison. Trump Jr., and Mike Johnson said, yes, he ate the meal, because of course he did.
He has to.
Did you hear Dana Gould's joke? He said that Trump's going to name a sandwich Sir Ham, and make Bobby Kennedy eat it.
I love it.
And smile.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bobby. Eat the fries. They're made out of bear.
So Trump Jr., Don Jr. said the conversation on the flight, including Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard, was, quote, one of the most epic conversations, and it was incredible. We have such incredible opportunity to do something different. You know who else said that? Hitler. Okay. Something really different. Anything Putin wants, I guess. I mean, one of these appointments is more ridiculous than the last, isn't it?
Yeah, with Matt Gaetz, of course, hopefully he's going to fail. It looks like he will, but Matt Gaetz being the most. Imagine being more ridiculous than McMahon as the Secretary of Education, the department which he's going to cut. Congratulations. Good news is he got a new job. The bad news is that department no longer exists.
By the way, Maggie Haberman said Trump is not backing off when it comes to nominating Matt Gaetz, despite the widespread backlash from both sides. But she said in private, he reportedly admitted in discussions with people he thinks Gaetz' chance of getting confirmed, the odds are less than 50% or less than even. Trump is calling people, senators and others, isn't very focused on getting Gaetz over the line. Again, it's just a way of humiliating people and making them eat. Right? Yep. The second, Thune said no recess appointments, the next day he's like, it's all on the table.
Yeah, he's just testing the limits of his dictatorship, how far he can go, how far he can make people squeal. I'll primary you. I'll get somebody crazier than you. Mm-hmm. They're there. They want money. It's yet another sign that religion never works, cannot compete with greed or fear.
Yeah. 20 minutes after the hour, it's Coffee with Carlos time. This portion... I know. Let's ask Randy Weingarten, the president of the American Federation of Teachers. Hi, good morning, Randy.
You're making her laugh.
Well, that's a good thing. Yeah.
We are considerably less happy than when we ran into each other at the DNC, but hi, good morning.
Well, let's say that science should be rocking and rolling here.
Oh my God, Randy. Here's the vicious circle. We get into is liberals get accused of talking down to people and blah blah blah, and then we are in this horrible place we are in where people have voted against their self-interest again. And I don't know what, if there's one definitive answer, but, you tweeted about Florida's average SAT scores have dropped to 948 in 2024, 18 points lower than last year, nearly 70 points lower than in 2017. Wow. The education state, as Ron DeSantis likes to call it, is now ranked 47th. I mean, these people, we're joking about playing Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, but... someone was talking about Joe Rogan's influence, and he proudly says, "I'm just dumb. I don't really know anything." Go ahead.
Well, let me first off, thank you for having me on. And then there's, I could wax for a long time on what I think has happened here. But let me just say this. I do think, and I wrote this weekend in an op-ed. Al Shanker used to do an op-ed every week for the New York Times. I do it once a month. But I wrote in the op-ed, I do think it was the price of eggs. Yeah. I mean, all of these other things are part of what's going on.
There's other factors. It's a perfect storm, but and
these folks, because Lauren Boebert was like this before the 2022 election, and she literally almost lost her race to Adam Frisch at that point by just a couple hundred votes, and then she moved to another place. I think that the issue is we have two realities. We have reality one, which, you and I try to live in. And then there is this kind of lack of fact-based reality, which Boebert and others live in. But most people who are non-college working class folk basically have been saying, not just through COVID, but before COVID, before the 2008 recession, before NAFTA, that what they want is to have a decent life for themselves and their families.
Yeah.
And the two charts that mattered to me most in the post-election, gap fest has been, number one, that people who are poor voted for Trump, and number two, or more people who are poor voted for Trump. I don't have the chart in front of me. And number two, a Steve Ratner chart that showed that that more families now no longer make more money going forward than going backwards.
Right.
That our kids are making less money than we are. And so these two things, America, what normally binds America together is that we believe that there's going to be opportunity that's better in the future than it was in the past, and that our kids will do better. And so when you see the price of gas or the price of eggs or the price of bacon or your groceries, that is a reality that's shared by a lot of people.
Right.
And so it was exploited by the Boberts and the others of the world,
but Randy,
to do something completely different than what it meant.
But let me just interrupt you for a moment. So I was reading a tweet. Do people really think the price of everything is going to magically drop in January? WTF is wrong with them. I would ask you about critical thinking skills. It's not just the disinformation that Trump won entirely on lies.
Stephanie Miller.
You've seen the difference and it's getting better all the time. I'll stop the world and melt.
Stephanie Miller.
Yeah. Sandra in San Diego, you're on with Carlos Alzraki. Hello, Sandra.
Hi there.
Hiya.
So, yeah, I'm calling about both Gates and Scarborough.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of your listeners, I have been listening to Morning Joe for years, okay? So I think there's one thing that Joe has been consistent about, in addition to going after Trump passionately and consistently, and that is he's got this thing about his children. His children always come first to him when he takes all this time off to spend with them, right? Okay, so then you put Matt Gaetz as an actual candidate to the AG. Okay, this means this is actually a threat to Joe. He's on probably the top 5 of the enemies list. So if they actually come after him, the Megan Nutt and the Steve Bannon mentality types, what does this mean for his children? I think that is
a lot of people have children and they don't have Joe Scarborough's millions, so I think a lot of people were offended that there's a lot of marginalized people that are really scared, Carlos, and I think it's so smug and condescending to go like, oh, you're idiots, my audience. It's only social media cranks that care. I went and kissed the ring. I just think, it's hard to do a show like that when you have no credibility left. Like, I don't know whether now they're going to, try to make it seem like they're just as tough on Trump as they used to. You're not going to believe them, right?
Yeah. Again, I remember Charlie Pierce, 5 years ago, just being amazed at how far people would kowtow to all of this, and it just keeps getting worse. And all the firewalls are gone, and it's just sad that people have no spine anymore.
I wanted to get to. I've never gotten, I swear, this much mail, Carlos, about just how scared people are. And again, we, are in a little bit of a liberal bubble here.
Yes, I have a trans friend that's marginalized. Latinos, immigrants, way more frightened than white people are.
Yeah, Susan writes, Steph, my hubby and I are big fans. We've watched the show on Free Speech TV for years. We attend your first and most recent Sexy Liberal shows in Madison, as well as your pay-per-view shows. We're both seniors living in a small, mostly peaceful town in southern Wisconsin. I want to show you how much life has already changed thanks to the influence of Trump. I've been the victim of road rage 5 times in the past 2 months. The reason I'm only guessing, I have a Chevy Blazer EV and I have a Harris bumper sticker on it. Our town produced Chevrolets for decades. Nearly everyone here has ties and loyalties to those vehicles. vehicles. I assume the anger is because Trump told his followers to hate both Democrats and electric vehicles. The demonstration of anger and hate I experienced didn't hurt me, but it included gestures, profanity, anger I've never experienced before in any of the places I've lived, including the bright red states of Texas, Indiana, Iowa, and Utah. The anger all came from young folks, so it looks like the influence of Trump will last the rest of my life. He has no idea how much he's damaged the mental health of all Americans, all for personal gain. The community you're supporting is critical to many of us. Thanks for everything you do. I think that's the thing. That's why the reaction to Joe and Mika and the ratings plummet is because we all have to stand together, Carlos. We're all scared, you know, but, you know, people showing cowardice, that's also can be contagious, right?
Yeah, it just cracks in the pipe, and then it leads to a big fissure, you know. His hate, his whole UFC, Joe Rogan, it's emboldened all this bad toxic male energy. So
Let's talk about that more after the break. Coffee with Carlos.
become troublesome, will the president use the recess appointment process?
Yes. The president has won a mandate, and he will use all lawful constitutional means to fulfill that mandate on behalf of the people who voted for him in record numbers.
Not record numbers. Baby Goebbels. That was Stephen Miller again with the mandate. Okay. By the way, so the first thing this Republican Congress has done is this is what bullying looks like, Carlos. Nancy Mace.
God, she's horrible.
Right? She's pushing to ban transgender women from women's restrooms at the U.S. Capitol. This is a bill to target one person.
McBride.
Yes, Sarah McBride. It's less than 2 months before Democrat-elect Sarah McBride, a Delaware state senator, is sworn in January. Sarah McBride doesn't get a say. I mean, this is a biological man, said Mace. She does not belong in women's spaces, women's bathrooms, locker rooms, changing rooms, period, full stop. McBride wrote, every day Americans go to work with people that have life journeys who are different than their own, engage with them respectfully. I hope members of Congress can muster that same kindness. This is a blatant attempt from far-right extremists to distract from the fact that they have no real solutions to what Americans are facing. We should be focused on bringing down the cost of housing, health care, child care, not manufacturing culture wars. Delawareans sent me here to make the American dream more affordable and accessible, and that's what I'm focused on. I mean, we wouldn't be surprised. They have a bully in chief, and so they're all bullies. I mean,
they're all enablers. I guess it is. You wouldn't call it a male toxicity, though, but it is this sort of testosterone toxicity and emboldenment of power, of people that her power was taken away with what happened to her, and she's been open about that. And I think she's trying to reclaim it by just being mean to other people.
Yeah.
If anybody out there really talks to Jesus, can you just go, hey, Jesus, you see what's happening down here, right? Are you going to come back or what? Because they're not listening. It's just
it all comes back to disinformation. I keep saying we didn't lose on trans issues. We lost on lies about trans issues.
Correct. Lies about trans issues. That was
right.
The
You
most
send
of
your
the
kid to
during
school,
football games
a girl, and it comes back a boy. Right? It's just like, oh. So there was this fight on The View. We were just talking about, I guess, Rogan before the break, Carlos. So The View recounted a recent moment in which I hate starting sentences with Bill Maher said.
Don't do it.
Claimed that Democratic Party members see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, and you can't say those are not elements.
And male fear.
When he believes that people who voted for Trump just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Sonny Hostin said, I know there's a country, it's very difficult for people to believe that racism and misogyny, they're alive and well, but my lived experience tells me that it does still exist. Even if your lived experience doesn't tell you that it exists, you know, the facts support that. So she said she added, if you look, there's a clear racial divide in who voted for Trump as opposed to who voted for Kamala Harris. It's very clear. What's her name? Alyssa Farah Griffin, who used to work for Trump, agreed with Maher. She said his whole point is that they didn't vote for him because of racism and misogyny. I think the biggest common denominator is people want a good life and the ability to pay for their family. Yes, but once again, they voted on racist lies about why prices are high. And, you know...
Yes. Because the immigrants of eating your cats and dogs and taking your jobs away. And
yes.
There was a special segment last night on CNN about how Trump appealed to males who feel like the patriarchy is gone and the Democrats weren't reaching out to them. And my wife says that I could get it with poor nations poor countries, states, like Oklahoma, who could say, yeah, man, my manhood is gone, and the Democrats with a woman just ain't speaking to that. I get that, but I looked at my friend Cedric Yarborough, nobody was afraid that their masculinity was going away because we were nominating Harris. So it's just
real men weren't.
No, they won on fear. They didn't win on the promise of economy and that eggs are too high. Well, they run on racism and fear.
I was saying,
brown people are coming to take your jobs.
I mean, I was saying that, I think, whatever. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'm so tired of this. I think she would have done great on Rogan. I don't think he would have endorsed her. I don't think his crowd would have voted for her anyway.
No.
I mean, I've talked to Latino women friends that are like, they aren't going to vote for a woman.
Yeah.
The Latino men that voted for Trump.
There's a lot of machismo out there still there, and they're really playing into it. And that's why he shows up at UFC fights. He's a man, and he represents manhood. they're just all confused and lost and unparented, unmothered, unloved.
Yeah.
And the cure for that for the Republican Party is just pump that fear into them.
Yeah.
Fear is a more powerful motivator than hope is, unfortunately.
And so this is the other fight everybody's talking about. I can't get enough of the Democratic infighting. Can
that's
you?
so fun.
So
It's so
fun.
fun.
So great. So Cenk Young, how do I say his name?
Uyghur.
Yes. Okay. Have you seen the footage of him yelling at the airline gate attendant? Okay. Then you. Okay. He and historian Alan Lichtman got into a shouting match on Piers Morgan about Lichtman's failed 2024 election prediction. So this is the first time he's ever been wrong. I mean, frankly, I think he was right about 2000 as well. He's never been wrong about an election. And it's based on everything on earth, one, that we normally judge elections by, while the actual economy is doing. And he said the same thing I've been saying, Carlos. It's disinformation. It all comes back to disinformation. So, right. So Cenk screamed at him, "Don't blame the voters." I mean, I don't think he was blaming the voters. He was blaming disinformation. Anyway, he said, "Don't blame the voters." I mean, I think we can get into this discussion, but one, I think you're blaming the voters. I told him his theories into the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. And Lichtman said, "No, you were not. You weren't right, and I was not wrong." I mean, again, this is the first time Alan Lichtman's ever been wrong. He said because of the avalanche of disinformation, it's just an element he's never had to deal with before. But I mean, it's just the way this conversation went. Cenk said, "You got it wrong. You were preposterously, stupidly wrong." Lichtman said, "Don't call me stupid." Then Cenk said, "Hey, Alan, you deserve a tall glass of shut up juice. So can you just shut up for a second and let someone who knows what they're doing talk?" I mean, we can't talk to each other like this. Like, this is not going to solve the problem.
Again, he's not an adult. He's just not an adult. He's somebody that has a platform that just yells a lot. And that's just not the way you communicate your frustrations. And I agree with you. Yeah, you had a guy that bought a South African guy who came here on a weird visa with a bunch of money from dad and bought up all these platforms. He bought one of the number one platforms and then just loaded it, seeded it with the most disinformation ever in the history of information. And that's hard to compete against. Because if you don't talk to those people, well, okay, what jobs do you want? What jobs that you think that are going to help you buy eggs when they want to cut minimum wage? What job are you going to get if you're not educated and you have to read a Bible every day? And what kind of job are you going to get that's going to help you buy a house with this administration? They can't answer that.
And meanwhile, in the real world, these are the headlines, Carlos. Farmers panic that Trump policy can cause catastrophic nightmare. His promise to enact mass deportations could result in a massive loss of revenue for farmers. The idea of mass deportations is frightening and scary just on a humane level, said one dairy farmer. She argued that businesses and churches should expect a catastrophic nightmare. She said there's a great chance for families to be broken apart. But then what happens to prices when half of your agricultural workforce is gone?
Hey, man, eggs are $2.99 a dozen, but my strawberries are $47 a pound.
And you're not addressing the illegal employer problem like you would in comprehensive immigration reform.
Right. They are the ones that are taking your jobs because they will pay lower wages than you. And again, for all this male masculinity, I'm a Joe Rogan guy. I will give you $10,000 if you can last 4 days picking strawberries 12 hours a day. You wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
You're Mr. Masculine alpha male thing with I'm tired, my back hurts. Meanwhile, a 70-year-old Latino woman is going, "Oh, what a pussycat."
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. What a pussycat.
Yeah. But, Carlos, I know. I'm so sick of that kind of living here in L.A., this kind of racism. I'm telling you, the hardest working people I've ever met are Mexican here in Los Angeles.
Mexican, Guatemalan, El Salvador's, Nicaragua, all the Central American, South American, they work hard.
Yeah. By the way, so Trump's plan to defy the 14th Amendment, because, I don't know, all amendments, I guess, are optional now. No passports for children of undocumented parents. Stephen Miller has said military funds would be used to build vast holding facilities that would function as staging centers for immigrants. That would be internment camps. Thank you. So they would end birthright citizenship, even though the Constitution protects it, bring back a version of the travel ban from his first term, which barred visitors from several mostly Muslim countries. This time, instead of directly pressuring undocumented adults to flee, some immigration opponents are threatening access to school for their children. It's a nuclear option, requiring the reversal of a Supreme Court ruling that has for decades been the linchpin of educational rights for decades. Tom Homan, his crazy
Tom
border
Hobag?
czar, yes, thank you, Chris, for that correction, has already said that families can be deported together, including citizens, American citizens. The Trump administration plans to stop issuing passports, Social Security cards to infants born on domestic soil to undocumented migrant parents. I don't know, not that this matters anymore, but a legal analyst said birthright citizenship is a foundational concept in American constitutional law. I mean, they're just going to blow up everything, Carlos. They're talking about, how do we, how can Trump adjourn Congress himself just to recess appointments for whoever he wants? I mean,
yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah, talk about tearing down monuments. I may as well just tug down the Statue of Liberty and put a big old Trump statue out there. Look at it. We took her down.
Don't give them any ideas.
Hey, you know what else? Here's a fun fact. Anyone, in case you want some fancy book learning, you know what else is in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? It also bans Americans who have engaged in insurrection from holding public office.
What?
Wait,
What?
What? Jody woke up finally. Hour 3. Hi.
Wait, what?
You hit the nail on the head, though, Stephanie. This is all white male fear.
Yeah.
This is all white male fear. We're being replaced. We're being outpopulated. We've got to do something. We're scared.
Right. There's a second half of the sentence. Eggs are too much because of the brown people. That's
Yes.
the second half of this, because XYZ people.
As Dana Gould said in his stand-up act, how many eggs do you eat?
I'm concerned about people's cholesterol between
me
the
too, at
eggs
this
and the
point,
bacon
yeah.
situation. All right, 45 minutes after the hour, this poor Stephen Beschloss, author of America.
Yeah.
You're not stuttering. He says it twice on purpose. Hi.
Times I might have to add a couple more Americas just to underscore the necessity of its survival.
Writer, political journalist extraordinaire. I mean, Stephen, so to your point, I love how this last piece you wrote, not today's, I already read that too, but you said, remember, Donald Trump wants us to be demoralized. He wants to fuel conflict and outrage. He wants to push the boundaries as far as he can, not only to see what he can get away with, but to throw Congress and the country off balance or even into chaos to strengthen his own position. In his warped vision, he relies on the ruins of others. And that's where I think it starts with saying, this is not a mandate. This is, 49, 50%. That's where it starts for them to make you feel demoralized, right? And defeated, and like you're the one that's out of touch and you're just overwhelmed, and they're the vast majority of people, disagree with you, right?
Right. And look, a win, in this case, a win is a win. We have to live with that. But let's not pretend that it's a mandate. Let's not pretend that it's a landslide. Let's not pretend that this is a normal administration that we should respond to normally. I think it's already worrisome that this early, 63 days before January 20th inauguration, that there's so many people who are already quickly rolling over, who already seem to be more concerned about trying to get along, trying to get access, trying to treat this guy like it's just a normal day in democratic America.
I am wearing this wardrobe today in honor of Joe and Mika, who went to kiss the ring at Mar-a-Lago on Friday. To your
so
point.
You're promising that after January 20th, your T-shirt will not say he's not that bad.
I mean, but to your point, Joyce Vance tweeted, Trump isn't even in office yet, and we're already talking about letting him bypass the Constitution as though that's a normal conversation to be having.
Right. And look, 63 days away. I mean, there's something that he did which is weirdly our benefit, which is that all of these reckless, dangerous selections for a cabinet and other so-called leadership positions, they're so egregious that they serve the purpose of exposing what his intentions are. And now we'll get to see very clearly what the Senate is made of. Do they actually treat their duty to advise and consent, to follow the Constitution with seriousness, or don't they? And if they don't, you know what? We need to know sooner rather than later.
I mean, you went down all of them. Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense. I mean, not only did we find out he paid the woman off for this latest sexual assault allegation, but you said, did you know he championed service members who were accused of war crimes? Did you know he was asked to stand down from guarding President Biden in his inauguration because of his extremist religious tattoos? Tulsi Gabbard, you talk about, how many of our allies have already determined they can't trust their secrets with Trump and are reorganizing their intelligence operations to avoid relying on America. Who does that hurt? America. It hurts America. Yeah. You said not only is she ill-prepared and unqualified, but she traffics in conspiracy theories, cozies up to dictators like Assad and Putin. I mean, it is almost a script that would be rejected out here in Hollywood, Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. It's a lot of us really actually, even for Trump, thought this was a joke when we heard these nominations. Did you?
No, Matt Gaetz, I thought that one was a joke. I thought maybe even the new version of The Onion was trying to spoof us, right? But they are very. I mean, he's very serious. He's not hiding, and this intention to pursue retribution. Let's be clear. That's on the table. Yeah. It's not. And treat it accordingly. So,
well, I thought you made such a smart point. I hadn't heard other people say. You said maybe Donald has finally found his Roy Cohn, minus the intelligence and the legal knowledge, but with the same level of ambition, immorality, and capacity for cruelty. And you said we can only hope the ethics report will be leaked or otherwise handed over to senators. I mean, obviously some senators are demanding it or saying they're not going to vote for him, but we'll see how quickly the capitulation to Trump happens, because it usually happens on cue, right?
Right. And look, the thing about that ethics report, it provides evidence, but it's almost as if we don't really need more evidence.
Yeah. Welcome to all the new Joe Scarborough Morning Joe viewers. Hi, hello, how are you?
Yes.
Welcome.
Fallout.
Rita from Minnesota says, Steph, checking off my to-do list in what I'm calling my Resist American Tyranny playbook, and includes a podcast subscription for the Stephanie Miller Show. Check. Good job, Rita. Fortunately for America, 40-something comedians like you aren't anywhere near retirement age, because we need you, Steph. We need each other. We need every one of us.
She's not in her 50s.
I'm happy to be a small part of supporting your show. Laughter is cheaper and a lot more fun than therapy. Thanks for all you and your team do. Please support us and all our progressive warriors like Carlos Alzraki. There are so many smart, funny, amazing
I'm just texting
voices.
right now. So long, morning joke. Hello, Stephanie Miller.
There you
Morning
go.
joke.
There you go. Christopher,
yes,
who said, I've been very annoyed at the Republicans who want to support Trump but want to remain respectable, who are like, well, this is a real unforced error by Trump. I'm like, yeah, where have you been? This is everything we were saying. This time he's not going to bother with the good people. He's basically told us this, and people are surprised. Who said that?
Bucky Dent.
No, that would
was a
be
good guess.
George Conway.
That was a really good guess, though.
Thank you.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it
Don't
was.
coddle him. Okay.
Coddling him was a good guess.
I mean, Carlos, we keep saying, as bad as you think it's going to be,
It can get worse.
Yes, the GOP plans to target Medicaid. We've been talking about this morning, and federal nutrition assistance to help offset the huge cost of their tax agenda that encapsulates the what do you call it? Trump, who postured as a working class champion during the 2024 race. You couldn't come up with a better distillation of the real Trump agenda than paying for tax breaks for the rich by gutting Medicaid and increasing child hunger, said Ron Wyden. Ed Markey added that making it even more difficult for people to get health care or afford food in order to give tax cuts to the same greedy companies that are driving up health care and food costs is disgusting. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you think how he's going, Kamala Harris actually presented a plan about corporate price gouging and how to bring prices down. For the life of me, Carlos, don't know how people think prices are going to come down because of Donald Trump. We already have companies planning layoffs, etc. Right? What did we say this morning, Chris? Walmart. Because of the tariffs. His plans are awful. Whatever the concepts of plans he had, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm nominating Ronda Rousey to the concept of a plan department. Yeah, it's really, for those of you who are more well off and in the stock market and financial investments, that will be a scary time as well. What will the market do? How will it react? How will it affect people's portfolios? So both the rich and the poorer folks will be affected by tariffs and all kinds of bad economic plans, loss of health care, rise of insurance costs.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so incredible for a lot of us to believe that people could be duped again by this quite obvious crook and con man and grifter. I was telling the story about my Uber driver 2 days after the elections. This phone, my money's doing better. And I'm like, Joe Biden's still president.
Yes. The market was doing fantastic.
You idiot. Sorry. I didn't call him an idiot.
Yes, I thought affect people that make minimum wage, but if you're going to talk about the economy doing well, it was doing well. Inflation was high all over the world.
Yep. Yes, thank you. Sue in Rockville, you are on with Carlos. Hello, Sue.
Good morning, all. I have an object lesson on why we don't obey in advance from my folks, okay? When the ghetto was formed in Lodz, Poland, my parents were prisoners, and they saw the new people being marched in. And the German Jews who had been in World War I all wore their uniforms because they always considered themselves Germans first and Jews second. And they were sure that the Nazis would look at them and say, oh, my God, we made a mistake. But instead, by obeying in advance and showing who they were murdered first. And make no mistake, they were murdered. They got rid of them first. When you obey in advance, you sign your death warrant.
Yeah.
Do not obey. Do not comply. We resist, and that's how we win.
Yep. Well said. Well said, Sue. This story just made me a little happy just because I want some justice in the world. Rudy Giuliani's fighting to keep his refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's mine. Those are my magnets. Hands off.
My banana magnet. You can't have that. That's despicable. So I saw his watches. He had to give his watch. I don't know. Okay. So, by the way, and Ruby and Miche, they have another lawsuit against him for his repetitive false speech and harassment, targeting them during and after the trial in the first case. So he's going to lose his washer and dryer, too.
What is he hiding in the fridge?
Probably bags of cash.
Probably.
Yeah.
Diamonds.
Speaking of Georgia State Election Board will hold its first post-election meeting where it's set to consider resuming its recent push to change Georgia election rules and stir the debate anew about counties reviewing the voter purges, right? 3 members of the board were publicly praised by Trump as pit bulls. I mean, they're going to do everything they can, Carlos, to make sure that Democrats never win again. And we got to fight back just as hard.
Yeah, my daughter was like, well, at least Trump can only be president for 2 terms. I'm like, we'll see.
Let's see which amendments are optional. Like, 22nd. No, but they didn't mean to do that.
For people to tell us that we are overreacting. We're not. But stay vigilant. We want to stick our head in the sand and just not look, but we have to stay vigilant, like Sue said, and keep fighting.
Yep. I love you, Carlos Alzraki.
Love you back.
Support our progressive, funny little warrior.